Oh, Magandang umaga po. Isang mapagpalang umaga ang aming bati sa lahat ng kaguruan na kaantabay at sumusubaybay sa Action Research webinar series na ito. Natapos na po natin ang unang 4 na episodes at nakita namin ang enthusiasm, interest at motivation na sumubok sa endeavor na ito, na talaga namang malaki ang magiging ambag para sa bata at para sa bayan. Sa pagsisimula ng episode 5 ng Lights, Camera, Action, Research, inaanyayahan po ang lahat para sa pagpupugay sa ating bandila at para sa isang panalangin.
Bayang magiliw, sa silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dilim mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisigil. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw na kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng buwan natin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Maraming salamat po sa kabila ng krisis na ating kinakaharap, pandemya at lindol. Tayo ay pinagpala pa rin upang makapagsilbi sa ating kapwa, lalong-lalo na sa mga mas batenyong mag-aaral. At sa mga kababayan po natin dyan sa Katayngan at mga karatig bayan, magandang umaga po, maayong buntag. Sana po at nawa ay maging maayos na ang lahat. So kakayanin or talagang kakayanin po ng mga mas batenyo ang pagsubok ang ating kinakaharap. At sa pagpapatuloy ng webinar na ito, ay nais po natin din po nating batiin ang mga haligi ng SDO Masbate Province. Sa ating SDS, Ma'am Nene Rosal Marioles, ganun din po ang ating ASDS, Sir Raymond Cantonhos at Sir Melchizedek Tongko. Ang ating Chief Education Supervisor is Ma'am Maria Dorothy Daniel and Sir Mark Anthony H. Rupa. Tunay ngang walang makapipigil, yanigin man ng lindol, patuloy pa rin ang edukasyon dito sa SDO Masbate Province. At nais din po naming ipakita sa lahat na meron po tayong mga naimbitahang bisita mula sa Bicol Mainland upang makibahagi sa ating webinar. Marahay na aga po sa Indo. At shout out din po sa Pasto Stampar Webinar Fanatics Leong National High School with their school head Sir William Arsenas. Kumusta po kamo dila? So kaya pa po, tapuson na natin ini na webinar series. Ganon din po sa Florentino D. Peñalosa Elementary School sa San Pascual South District, Madam Penny Sinagpulo Orod. So, kumusta po kayo dyan sa San Pascual? Maraming salamat po at patuloy kayong nakikibahagi sa webinar series na ito. Good morning din po sa mga taga Reveal Bahar National High School with their school head, Sir Raden Barredo. So, kumusta po ang mga taga Milagros? Ayos lang po ba? Sana after this, damo-damo po na action research proposal and maghali sa Milagros. With Ma'am Milagros Oliva Kapilian. Good morning po, Ma'am Nida Tizon Oliva, Pusing ng Kapakulan Elementary School. Mga taga Milagros po inisinda. Pakadto po kita sa Ma'am Marilyn Alforte Aquino ng Santa Cruz Elementary School. Good morning din po. At alam din po namin na kahit po isa lang ang naka-in na account sa Facebook or sa YouTube, sama-sama po ang ating mga kaguruan na sumusubaybay sa webinar series na ito. So we would like to remind po to observe safety protocols along para maiwasan natin ang COVID-19. So, stay safe lang po tayong lahat at patuloy po tayong mag-harvest ng kaalaman tungkol sa research. So, kaya naman ngayon, alam po namin na excited na kayo sa bagong impormasyon na ating makukuha. Kaya naman, ibinibigay po namin ang Senior Education Program Specialist ng Planning at Research ng SDO Masbate Province, Madam Cheryl Bermudo, para sa evaluation or evaluating action research proposal. Ma'am Che.
Thank you, Sir PJ. Good morning to all our viewers and participants to this fifth episode of our Action Research Webinar Series 2020. My respect to our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Nene R. Marioles, SESO 5, and to our Assistant Schools Division Superintendents, Sir Melchizedek C. Tongko and Sir Raimundo M. Cantonho, SESO 6, and to our CID Chief, Ma'am Maria Dorothy L. Daniel, and our SGOD OIC Chief, Sir Mark Anthony H. Rupa, to our supportive guests from the mainland Bicol, to the teachers, to the school administrators, stakeholders who are watching us right now, good morning. Today, the fifth episode shall complete our Action Research Webinar Series 2020, dubbed as Lights, Camera, Action Research. But just like any other culminating activity, this does not mean the end of nurturing the culture of research in the division of Masbate Province. But this is a culmination of new perspectives, new approaches, and new impressions on the value of knowing things in systematic way. Despite the pandemic, we were able to carry out the mission of imparting knowledge and skills along action research. We are hopeful and optimistic that all these efforts shall bring SDO Masbate Province to higher heights in terms of research initiatives. Today, our episode 5 shall cover evaluating action research proposal. Episodes 1 to 4 gave you, the participants, the opportunity to deepen your understanding about action research and how it is done, because we believe this is what we need if our aim is to better understand our context and find ways to effect change for the improvement of our own professional practice. So friends, teachers, administrators, school leaders, education stakeholders, let me join all of you to be part of this episode from start to finish. You will witness later presentations of action research proposals which we believe would help the proponent address their own practical issues amidst this crisis. So let me discuss to you the appraisal tool that will be used in appraising an action research proposal based on DepEd Order number 16, Series 2017. Now, before that, of course, as a sort of review, our Action Research Webinar Series 2020 was composed of 5 episodes. These are as follows: the What of Action Research, Episode 1. Number 2, the Action Research Process. Third, Getting Started in Action Research. And the 4th, the How of Action Research. And finally, we are now on the 5th and final episode of this series, which is entitled Evaluating Action Research Proposal. Okay? So these are our objectives for this webinar series. Develop knowledge and skills in conducting action research among teachers and educators. We are done with this. Understand what action research is, its characteristics, uses, and limitations. Differentiate action research from other kinds of research studies. Understand action research process. Demonstrate an understanding of how action research as an approach, the use of action research and as an approach to improve your teaching. And identify researchable topics in your own schools or classrooms and design an action research plan. Now, based on the submitted outputs in episode 4, many of you were able to formulate your own action research proposal based on your learning for the past 4 episodes of our action research webinar series. Okay? And so this morning, let me introduce to you the tool that will be used by the school division review committee in appraising your submitted action research proposal. And this will serve as your guide in also self-appraising if the proposal that you will be submitting will pass through the standard set by DepEd Order number 16, Series 2020. Okay. So what you are seeing on your screen is the tool. So if you can see, we have here the main criteria. The first main criteria is rationale of the action research, which is given 30 points. And this main criteria is subdivided into 2 criteria. We have the context, which is equivalent to 15 points. Proposed intervention, innovation, and strategy. Of course, alam naman natin na itong part na to, this proposed intervention innovation strategy makes action research unique from other types of researches. And we also have the action research questions equivalent to 30 points. We will discuss later the indicators per criterion. And we have also research methods equivalent to 30 points, which is composed of the three sub-criteria: participants or other sources of data and information, data gathering methods and research instruments, 10 points. Data analysis plan is also 10 points. And we also have 5 points for action research, work plan, and timelines, and cost estimates equivalent to 5 points. Now, let us discuss each of the criterion. For context, if in your proposal you were not able to describe the context of your action research proposal, you will not be given any point. But if you were able to present in your context the action, a general description of the problem or issue as its focus of inquiry, you will only be given 8 points. The educational relevance and timeliness of the problem or issue are shown. So you should be able to include in your context, as we have emphasized in the previous episodes, that you should emphasize the timeliness and relevance of the problem. And the need to conduct action research as a way to address or improve the situation is included or explained, 12 points. But if in your context and rationale, you were able to emphasize the nature, extent, and salience of the identified problem or issue, different aspects of the action research setting, you have also elaborated, showing the in-depth and critical analysis of the situation. If you were able to present that in that part, you will be given 15 points. For proposed intervention, innovation, and strategy, which is equivalent to 15 points. So, kung wala kang nailagay, of course, you will not be given any point. But if you were able to mention an intervention, innovation, or strategy to be tried out to address the problem or issue only, you will be given 8 points. 12 points if the proposal outlines when and where the intervention or innovation or strategy will be undertaken and who will be involved. And also, you were able to outline the activities to be undertaken, you will receive 12 points. And you will get the maximum of 15 points if the rationale, extent, and limitation of the intervention, innovation, or strategy are explained in detail. Its plausibility as a way to address the problem or issue is given support, you will be given 15 points. Then the next criterion, we have the action research question. If you could see, ang action research question natin ay mataas ang point because ito yung nagiging pinaka-basis in conducting action research, and all the parts of your action research proposal must all be aligned and supportive to finding answers to your identified or outlined action research questions. So, kung walang action research question, of course, walang points. You will receive 15 points if the action research proposal has a stated aim, objective, or general research question. 25 points if the research questions specify the action research variables or the focus of inquiry. Key elements of the research questions are reflected in the title of the proposal. You will be given 25 points. And you will receive the maximum of 30 points if the research questions logically proceed from the context of the inquiry. It clearly relates to the identified problem or issue and conveys the desired change or improvement. Yan, that is for action research questions. And participants or other sources of data and information. So you must be able to present and describe your participants or sources of data or information. So you will be given 5 points if you were able to state the target participants and or other sources of data and information. Example, your learners, teachers, documents, realia, learners' products, and others. But you will be given maximum 10 points if details are provided about the target participants, like the number, the characteristics, the sampling procedure, and or other sources of data and information, and you have clear rationale for their inclusion in the study. So, yun, in identifying or presenting your participants in your proposal, you must be able to meet all these points or all these elements as detailed as outlined in this rubric or appraising tool for you to be given maximum of 10 points. For data gathering methods, okay, so you will be given 5 points if the action research proposal presents a general description of the methods to be employed for gathering data. 8 points if the details of the data gathering methods are provided, the specific kinds of data, how and when they will be collected. Example, if you will be conducting pre-test and post-test, you must be able to show that in your proposal if you are planning to include that. Research instruments, if any, are described, like if you will be using tests, your scale or rating scale, your survey questionnaire, checklist, interview guide, and many more. You have to attach that in your proposal so that you will be given points for that. The proposal explains why the selected data gathering method is suited to the nature and purpose of the action research. The data gathering method is aligned with the research questions, research instruments, if any, are appropriate for obtaining the desired kind of information. Then we have the data analysis plan. So as I have emphasized in episode 4, your action research question, your data gathering method, and your data analysis plan must all be aligned. So you will be given 5 points if you have just stated the aim, objective, or yes, the data analysis plan is given 10 points. Again, it must be aligned to your action research question and methodology. Then the cost estimates, we have maximum of 5 points. The action research proposal includes a list of major items and their estimated cost. The total cost is shown. So dapat may pakita mo. In our DepEd Order number 16 series 2017 for the BERF or the Basic Education Research Fund, you will be given a maximum of 30,000 pesos for a school-based action research. So you will be given 5 points if you were able to include in your proposal a detailed breakdown of items with their corresponding costs, and the items and costs reasonably reflects the funding needs of the action research and adhere to BERF guidelines. The overall plan reflects the proponent's capacity to project specific expenses that he or she be accountable for. Sir Paul Joan Blancover was able to discuss DepEd Order number 16 series 2017 na mention niya doon ang mga allowable expenses if you will be granted BERF. So in writing your cost estimates, all those things must meet with the standard set by DepEd Order number 16 series 2017. And we also have the action research work plan and timelines equivalent to 5 points. So if you were able to include the list of major activities and their timelines, you'll be given 3 points. But if a detailed work plan is provided covering start to completion of the research, timelines are realistic and show concretely how the action research will unfold over the allowed period. The overall plan reflects the proponent's capacity to concretize ideas into clear and sequential steps to be undertaken. So kung maganda ang pagkagawa mo ng action research work plan ng timelines with all the details and you were able to outline the timelines and realistic ang nilagay mong timelines, then you will be given 5 points. Okay? So far, those are the different criteria for appraising your action research proposal. And for you to pass the evaluation, you must be able to receive a total of 70% or 70 points. Okay? So hindi siya mahirap ipasa. Ang passing rate natin sa school, ano ba ang passing rate? But here in appraising your action research proposal, you only need 70% or 70 points for you so that your proposal will pass the school division research committee. And for possible endorsement to the RRC for possible funding under the Basic Education Research Fund. Okay? So, yun ang gagamitin ninyo. If you are doing your action research proposal, you may conduct self-evaluation of your own proposal before submitting that to the SDRC through the Secretariat, so that you will be confident that your proposal may somehow or will surely pass the evaluation and will receive not lower than 70 points, so that that will be forwarded for possible approval or funding. Okay? So that's the tool that will be used, and afterwards, as I have said, you will be witnessing presentation of action research proposals, and those proposals that will be presented, pinili namin yun ng maayos so that you will be witnessing a presentation of action research proposals which are responsive to our current situation. Yung mga proposals na yon are proposed that will be conducted under new normal. Kasi di ba ang hirap ngayon gumawa ng activities because of our current situation, but then the selected action research presenters were able to draft a proposal that they are planning to conduct this under new normal situation. So that's all, and I am again enjoining everyone to witness the presentation with a panel of reactors from which is our panel of reactors is composed of research specialists from different schools division in Bicol region. Okay, so good morning once again.
Yun, maraming guided na po ang ating participants kung ano ang hinahanap sa mga action research proposals at kung paano sila binibigyan ng puntos. So ayon sa presentation, so makakuha lang po tayo ng 70% ay pasok at for approval na po yung ating mga action research proposal. At ang pagtatapos po ng presentation ni Ma'am Che ay hudyat na din po ng pagsisimula ng action research proposal presentation na gaganapin virtually. Ito po ay first of its kind dito sa SDO Masbate Province. Ang ating mga presenters po ay bibigyan ng 10 hanggang 15 minuto para sa kanilang presentation, at pagkatapos ay maglalaan ng 10 minuto para sa question and answers with the panel of reactors. So kaya naman po may hunga ako. Nanuman. Nakahanda na po ba kayo? Ayun, so bago po tayo tumungo sa unang presenter ay nais po naming ipakilala ang ating mga inimbitahang bisita upang magsilbing panel of reactors. Sila po ay ating kapanalig sa pagbibigay ng dekalidad na edukasyon sa Bicolanong mag-aaral. Madalas po nating marinig ang kanilang mga lugar sa Bicol March. Maituturing din po na sila ay tunay na mga uragon, mga matibayon, lalo na kapag planning at research ang pag-uusapan. Mga kapwa kugurong Masbateño, The panel of reactors, ang mga senior education program specialist for planning and research ng iba't ibang dibisyon sa Bicol Region. Amin pong ipinapakilala si Dr. Santos T. Aranya ng Legazpi City Division, President, PASEP Bicol Chapter. Dito rin po, ayun, nandito po din si Dr. Michael Uy ng Sorsogon City Division. Siya din po ang Vice President ng PASEP Bicol Chapter. At nandito din po si Dr. Monica P. Gavino ng Naga City Division. Marhay na aga po mga ma'am at sir. Good morning po.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Yun, good morning po.
Good morning, Sir
Good
Paul.
morning, everyone. Good
Ayun,
morning.
Good morning po, Sir Santi, Sir Mike, and po. Kumusta po dyan sa Bicol mainland?
Okay lang. Dumadagdag dito sa Naga City ang positive. Stay safe po kayo dyan.
Ayun, ganun din po dyan. Dr. Santi, how about po sa
Medyo alarming, isa lang naman po ang namatay kagabi lang dahil sa COVID-19. Kaya ingat-ingat po tayong lahat.
Ayun po,
Yan
ingat-ingat
lang po,
din po kayo dyan, sir.
Oo. Salamat po.
How about po sa inyo po, Sir Mike, sa Sorsogon City po?
Hello. Good morning, Sir Paul from Sorsogon City, having the same kind of feeling of fear for COVID-19, but we have to go on, and education must continue. Church, so we're moving. Go lang.
Ayun, thank you po, Sir Mike. So, ganun din po dito sa Masbate Province po. Kamakailan lang po last week ay niyanig po kami ng lindol. Talagang napakalakas po kasabay ng pandemya. Pero lumalaban po ang mga Masbatenyong guro. Ganun din po ang mga Bicolanong guro. So, ayun, at sa ating mga participants, nandito na po online ang ating mga members of the reactor. So sila po yung magbibigay ng puntos, sila po yung magbibigay ng mga suggestions mo at talaga namang po sila ay nakahanda na. At dahil dyan, ang mga presenters po natin ay nakahanda na rin at ang unang sasalang, ayun, so sila po, dalawa po kasi sila, ang kauna-unahang teacher researchers from SDO Masbate Province na magpe-present ng kanilang research. Ayun. So, ang unang sasalang po ay isang elementary teacher for 13 years. Nagtapos ng Bachelor in Elementary Education, major in English. In supervision. Siya ay ang research coordinator ng kanilang district, isang master teacher ng Balukawe Elementary School, Dimasalang District. Ating pinakikilala si Ma'am Queen.
Hello.
Ayun, at habang hinihintay po natin, Ma'am Queen Jean, kasama niya din kanyang co-teacher at nagsilbi na po part course teacher in Ma'am Zeneth Armondares. Maayo po na aga, Ma'am Zeneth and Ma'am Queen Jean.
Good morning, Sir
Ayun.
Paul.
Yon, good morning po. Matiano po dida sa Dimasalang. Oh.
Okay man po kami.
Ayun, sige po. So, ready na po for your presentation?
Ready na po.
Ayun, handang-handa na. So, ladies and friends, the teacher researchers from Balukawi Elementary School, Ma'am Queenie Jean, and Ma'am Zenet.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone watching this stream. Our action research proposal is improving learning achievement in English of low-performing grade 2 and grade 4 pupils through personalized system of instruction, or PSI. I will be covering the first half of the proposal, which is context and rationale, action research questions, proposed innovation, intervention, and strategy. And the other half of the research will be discussed by my co-researcher, Ma'am Zenet Mondares. Let me start with the context and rationale. The K-12 curriculum considers English as one of the most significant tools in education. Why? This is because English competency is necessary to understand other content subjects such as mathematics and science. English literacy in the primary school, which is the K to 3, and middle school, grades 4 to 6, will help them achieve better educational outcomes if in the future stages. It will help them pursue higher education and employment, which will ultimately assist in addressing the nation's needs. The Philippines has been known as one of the best English-speaking countries in Asia because of its excellent English proficiency index scores in the previous years. The English Proficiency Index is an important international benchmark for English proficiency worldwide. In 2016, we ranked 13th, and in 2018, we are at the 14th spot among 88 countries. English proficiency is one of our strengths, which boosted the economy and made the Philippines one of the world's top outsourcing destinations. However, in 2019, the Philippines slides to the 20th place and was outranked by Singapore and other countries as they become more aggressive in improving English education. If the slide in ranking continues, this will result to negative consequences such as adversely impact Filipinos' competitiveness in the global arena. It will also affect the country's economy and ultimately impact the quality of life. According to Christopher McCormick of the Harvard Business Review, there is correlation between countries' English proficiency and its gross national income per capita. He says countries with better English have better economies and ultimately a better quality of life. This means that English aptitude is not only for self-improvement, but it is an economic necessity, an obvious call on the Philippines education sector to immediately step up our efforts to improve the teaching and learning of English in the country. In improving English learning, it's crucial to focus on primary education because K-6 is the learner's formative years, which will play a massive role in their success in future academic experiences. In our school year 2019 to 2020, people's average grade in English is relatively lower than other subjects, as shown in the slide. Their English skills also affect their performance in mathematics and science, as English aptitude is a prerequisite in understanding the content of these subjects. Consequently, they may face difficulties in their higher years, where most of the subjects use English as a medium of instruction. With the unprecedented and revolutionary shift in education because of the pandemic, teaching and learning English would become even more challenging. As Balukaw Elementary School adopts modular distance learning modality, there will be set of exceptional changes and emerging challenges. With the teacher's physical absence, lack of school atmosphere, and no attendance requirement, young learners may struggle with maintaining self-discipline, building motivation, and maximizing learning. In the late 1960s, when online education is not yet an option, educators started using the Personalized System of Instruction, PSI, or the Keller Plan in delivering distance education. PSI is a teaching model created by Fred S. Keller in 1968 to help Brazilian students learn a course material without an instructor standing by their side. ERI 2007. PSI is especially applicable to distance education because of its salient features. Use of self-learning modules instead of lecture method. Self-pacing of students through the lessons. Mastery demanded at each step. Repeating tests where necessary, and use of well-instructed and well-guided proctors. We acknowledge that modular distance learning may come with different risks. Some of these risks may include pupils' procrastination, loss of motivation, and limited learning. But, according to Keller, a learner is not unmotivated, not sick, and he can learn a great deal if we provide the right contingencies of reinforcement. So whatever the learning modality is, there is a way to help learners improve their learning achievement. We are inspired by Keller's ideology, and we will try using the PSI model in delivering English instruction in the hopes of meeting the demands and reconciling the changes in basic education in the new normal. Let's move on to the action research questions. This study aims to improve the learning achievement in English of low-performing grade 2 and grade 4 pupils of Balocawi Elementary School, school year 2020 to 2021, through the integration of Personalized System of Instruction, or the PSI. Specifically, it will seek answers to the following questions. How can the use of PSI in teaching English improve the learning achievement of low-performing pupils? How effective is PSI in improving the learning achievement of low-performing pupils? Let me tell you more about our proposed innovation, intervention, and strategy. This study will utilize the Personalized System of Instruction as an intervention to poor learning achievement in English and a strategy to overcome the challenges of modular distance learning. Here are our roles as researchers. Choose parent proctors based on the following criteria: knowledge on quarter 1 topics in English 2 and English 4, proximity to the participants, and their availability. We will modify the first and second weekly module into shorter and easier Keller type modules so that participants can get off to a confident start. Solicit the participants' reactions on the Keller plan and record the participants' weekly progress in a Keller progress chart. The parent proctors will be assigned to one participant. Do 2 50-minute tutorials each week, administer the tests, carry out the scoring, and give immediate feedback, and communicate with the researchers to discuss what transpired during the week. The participants will have 2 50-minute private study time with their parents, siblings, or guardians, and 2 50-minute tutorials with a parent proctor. They are allowed 2 attempts on each weekly test in case they fail to achieve an 85% mark. They will not be given a grade penalty for repeated testing, so that they can develop positive attitude toward testing. And lastly, do a remedial study of the areas that need more attention before attempting the retest.
Okay, now let's look at the action research methods. Who are the participants? They are the 5 grade 2 gold and 5 grade 4 pearl pupils of Balocao Elementary School who will get the lowest scores in the pretest. Why are these pupils the subjects of our study? Selected grade 2 gold pupils will be the representative sample of the low-performing group in K-Stage 1, while selected participants in grade 4 pearl will represent the low performers in K-Stage 2. We want to see the effects of PSI intervention on both stages. Another reason is lower baseline level of subject knowledge can be an indicator that these pupils may face more significant difficulties in modular distance learning. Thus, they will be instrumental in discovering the impact of the intervention on the learning outcomes of low-performing pupils in the new learning modality. What will they experience? They will have a 50-minute private study time with their parents, siblings, or guardians every Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesdays and Thursdays, they will attend a 50-minute tutorial with a proctor. On Fridays, they will answer a weekly test that will be administered by the proctor. The intervention will last for 9 weeks, covering the quarter 1 topics in English. In gathering data, we will employ a combination of qualitative and quantitative research methods. For the quantitative method, we will tabulate and graph the results of the pretest and post-test to show the effect numerically. We will also record the participants' raw scores in each weekly test to record the progress throughout the intervention. We will gather qualitative data through a structured interview. This is for us to better understand how the pupils felt about the PSI intervention in the modular distance setting. How are we going to analyze our gathered data? We will compare and triangulate all the data gathered during the pretest, weekly tests, post-test, and structured interviews to display the end-to-end impact of PSI intervention on the participant learning achievement. We will be using paired t-test to compare the participants' score averages in the pretest and post-test. This will help us to see what improvement, if any, had been made after implementing the PSI intervention. Aside from the pretest and post-test results, we will also determine the participants' score averages in the 9 weekly tests through repeated measures ANOVA or analysis of variance. This is for us to check if there are demonstrable improvements in their learning achievement from pre-intervention, midway, and post-intervention. For the structured interview, we will use a 5-point questionnaire designed to help us understand what aspects of the intervention had any effects on helping the participants learn the content better, perform better in tests, and feel motivated to learn the subject. So here is our action research work plan and timelines. August 2020 is the crafting and approval of the proposal. Persons involved are the researchers, school head, and the school's division research committee. October to November 2020 is the implementation of the study, tabulation and analysis of data, interpretation of the gathered data, and preparation of the action research paper. Persons involved are the researchers, participants, and proctors. December 2020 will be the printing of the research report, submission of the research report to the Division Research Committee for review, and submission of the final copy. Persons involved are the researchers, SCO's Division Research Committee, and the BERF Committee. This is our cost estimates. For the preparation and printing of research proposal, we need bond paper, ink, which is 1,000 pesos, an internet connection, an amount of 1,300 pesos, printing of modules and other related documents, 7,000 pesos, travel expenses for the distribution and collection of the modules and other related documents, home visit to participants for interview and submission of proposal, and completion report will cost 6,600 pesos. Prepaid load for communicating with the proctors is 1,100 pesos, while their snacks will amount to 13,000 pesos at a sum of 30,000 pesos. Our plans for dissemination and utilization. We will communicate the research findings to fellow teachers during school and district learning action cell sessions and to the school governing council for possible adoption of the utilized intervention. We will also submit the study to Bicol University Research and Development Journal for review and hopefully acceptance. These are our references for the study. Now, this concludes our presentation. We'd like to thank everyone for your attention, and we sincerely appreciate that we had the opportunity to present our research proposal. Again, good morning. B, B.
Yun. Maraming salamat po. Thank you so much, Ma'am Zenet and Ma'am Queenie Jean. So, yun ay ang PSI for sa English. So, sige po. Sa ngayon po ay magkakaroon na tayo ng yun. Ang ating panel of reactors ay nakahanda na po upang magbigay ng kanilang suggestions or recommendations sa inyong action research proposal. By the way po, congratulations po Ma'am Queenie Jean and Ma'am Zenet ng Balukawi Elementary School, Demasalang District.
Thank you, Sir Paul.
Ayun, Miss MJ, ang ating pong mga panel of reactors. Sina Dr. Michael Uy, Dr. Santos Aranya, and Dr. Monica Gavino. Yun, simulan po natin kay Dr. Santi. Sir?
Yes, good morning Sir Joben, and good morning sa ating dalawang magiting na researchers.
Good morning.
Mabuhay kayo dahil kayo ay matapang na sumagot sa hamon ng DepEd upang tulungan sa pagresolba ng mga problema ng Department of Education. So, di ko po nakita masyado yung title, working title na present nyo. Pwede pong makita ulit yung title nyo.
Kita na po, sir.
Okay, so maganda ang title, yung improvement ng English proficiency level ng ating mga learners diyan sa inyong district. So, improving learning achievements in English of dito may nakita lang ako, I would like to suggest kung pwede niyo i-consider nyo, after the improving learning achievement, siguro mas magandang isunod yung low performing grade 2 in grade 4 sa English proficiency. Oo. Improving learning achievements of low performing grade 2 and grade 4 pupils in English.
Of low-performing pupils.
Oo. Kasi ang ini-improve natin yung bata, yung mga respondents nyo. And that is only a suggestion, ano? So nakita natin. So, and napansin ko po, dalawa ang group of respondents nyo. Paano nyo po napili? Yes, may controlled group kayo at mayroon kayong experimental group. Am I right? Tama po ba ako, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Parang may experimental group and may control group. At paano nyo po napili itong group of respondents?
Sir, napili po namin yung group of respondents through pre-test. Tapos, doon sa pre-test, ang bottom 5, yun po ang subject for the research.
Bottom 5, ibig sabihin yung mababa ang score na nakuha.
Yes, sir.
So paano ang manner ng para makuha natin yung kung yung intervention na i-apply nyo ay effective or not?
Yung ano po sir, gagamit kami ng gagamit po kami sir ng ano, pre-test at saka yung post-test, yung paired t-test po. And then, susuportahan po yun sir ng weekly test. At the same time, gagamit din po kami sir ng ano, structured interview.
Okay. So,
Para
ibig
sa
sabihin, okay, may post-test and may pre.
Pre-test po, opo.
So, nag-determine kayo ng respondents nyo base sa result ng pre.
Yes sir.
Okay.
Opo.
So, yung mababa, yun ang sentro ng yung study. At yung mataas, yun na ang pagbabasihan nyo. Hindi nyo nabibigyan silang post-test or pre. At the same time ba, yung dalawa, at the end of the intervention activity na ibibigay nyo, ay bibigyan ulit ng post-test?
Opo sir, magbibigay po kami ng post-test para malaman namin kung effective yung PSI.
Okay. So,
I-compare namin sa yung result.
okay. So, i-compare niyo yung pre-test and post-test
Saka yung
result
post-test.
para nakita natin yung range of improvement ng mga bata.
Yes sir. Opo.
Okay. At nakita ko dalawa ang research method. A combination of research method po ang ginamit nyo. Qualitative and quantitative. So, bakit dalawa po ang ginamit nyo?
Para po ma-answer sir yung ano, yung question baga.
Oo.
Para ma-test din po yung validity.
Aha.
Validity ng
Ano ang
result
i-cover ng
namin.
ng quanti? Ano po ang i-cover ng quantitative at i-cover ng quali?
Ang quantitative po sir, yung pre-test, post-test at saka yung weekly test. Yung qualitative po, yun yung structured interview. Kasi yan sir, iti-test namin kung ano yung experiences ng mga bata using the PSI.
Okay, sige. Siguro sa nakaraang mga examination ng National Achievement Test, magandang performance nyo. Except itong nakita nyong medyo mahina.
Opo.
Okay, so yun lang po. Wala na akong ibang maitatanong. Congratulations dahil kayo ay na-consider na isang ng mga matatapang ng mga guro dahil kaunti lang ang matatapang na gumagawa. Is this really a funded research proposal for BERP?
Sana po sir. Sana ma-approve.
Yan na, maganda yan. At we need to encourage more researchers. We in Legazpi City, we are really struggling in encouraging researchers para sa funded. Marami nag-research sa amin para sa non-funded. So gusto namin dumami din. Kaya katulad nyo, kami ay sumasaludo sa inyo dahil ang gagaling nyo, dahil ang katapang nyo, marami sa inyo ang nag-respond sa panawagan ng SDO Masbate upang matulungan ang Department of Education na maresolba ang ilang mga problema, lalo na mga problema sa loob ng classrooms. So maraming salamat and congratulations. Mabuhay po kayo sa SDO Masbate.
Thank you po sir.
Ayun, maraming salamat po Sir Santi sa inyong mga suggestions and congratulations po again Ma'am Queenie and Ma'am Zinette, ang pinakamatapang sa lahat ng mga guro dito sa Masbate Province. So alam ko pong marami po kayong nakuha galing kay Sir Santi. Sa ngayon naman po ay bibigay po namin sa inyo ang ating pangalawang member ng panel of reactors, si Ma'am May. Ma'am May?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning po. Congratulations to both of you and also congratulations to SDO Masbate. Ma'am Che, congrats.
Thank you.
Konti lang ang tanong po, no? Kasi the number 2 statement of the problem nyo is, how effective is PSI in improving the learning achievement of low-performing pupils? Okay, ang tanong ko lang, papaano nyo measure? How are you going to measure the effectiveness of the PSI in improving the learning achievement? Or in other words, ano ang gagamitin yung tool, no? Yung tool para ma-measure nyo yung effectiveness or effectivity nung inyong innovation, which is the PSI.
Yung number 1, ma'am, we were going to use the qualitative and quantitative. Yung number 1, the use of PSI, gagawin namin yung structured interview para makuha po yung experiences ng mga bata sa paggamit ng PSI. And what aspects of PSI help them learn the content better? Learn the content better, perform better in test, motivate them to learn the subject, and of course, we will ask for how will the respondents rate the performance of their proctors, and then what intervention of the PSI did they like most and why. And for the question number 2, ma'am, dun sa problem number 2 namin, gagamit po kami ng pre and post test, at the same time, yung weekly test. Yung pre and post test po, ma'am, sa pre-test, doon po namin i-identify yung respondents namin kasi yun ang baseline of knowledge. Pag lower baseline of knowledge, doon po kami mapipili ng respondents namin. Then, makikita namin kung effective ang integration pag merong pagbabago doon sa post-test. And then, susuportahan po yan, ma'am, ng weekly test. Every Friday kasi meron silang weekly test para ma-monitor namin yung progress nila.
Okay, okay. Hindi ba kayo nag-focus doon? Kasi nag-focus kayo sa pre and post test. Pwede bang mag-focus doon sa mga competencies? Yung mga least learned competencies para malaman natin kung effective yung PSI? Kunyari, doon sa mga least learned competencies, kunyari yung vocabulary words,
Okay.
pwede ba yung gawin? Para malaman natin yung effectiveness ng PSI.
Idadagdag na lang namin.
Yes po. Kasi nakita ko po dito, ang focus nyo para makita nyo yung effectiveness ng PSI ay yung pre and post test.
Yes, ma'am.
Baka pwede naman nating malaman yung effectiveness ng PSI doon sa mga competencies.
Opo, ma'am.
Okay.
Noted.
Pero kung ang limitation ng research nyo ay yung pre and post test para makita yung effectiveness ng PSI, so pwede na siguro yun. Yun, suggestion ko lang po yun.
Opo,
Maganda
ma'am.
makikita natin sa competencies. Ano po?
Opo, ma'am.
Sige.
I-discuss na lang po namin.
Yes po. Opo. Congratulations po. Thank you.
Opo, ma'am. Thank you po.
Thank you so much, Ma'am May. So yun, another suggestion coming from Ma'am May. So bago po tayo matapos, Ma'am Queenie and Ma'am Zenet ay talagang mas ma-improve pa po yung inyong research proposal. Sige lang po, nag-enjoy man po inaan ido dida sa okay lang po ina, ma'am. Pampadagdag motivation. Sige. So hindi pa po natatapos doon. Meron pa po tayong pangatlong member ng panel of reactors. We are giving you Sir Mike of Sorsogon City. Sir? Sige po. By the way, naulit po natin, Ang mga senior education program specialists na nagsisilbing members ng panel of reactors sa ngayon ay galing po sa Naga City, Legazpi City, and Sorsogon City. Yon mga import. Hello po, Sir Mike.
Opo, hello, Sir Paul, can you hear me?
Yes po, yes po.
Yun, okay na po. To Ma'am Queenie and to Ma'am Senis, congratulations po for your research. Opo,
Thank you
in
po, sir.
fact, my grade is 95.
Agad-agad.
The following are the suggestions. First, I would like to look into your research questions kanina. If it's impossible to be flashed, okay lang. Pero I think those two research questions can be merged. Parang feeling ko pwede nyo nang pagpilian yung dalawang research questions nyo kanina, turning it into one lang. Parang feeling ko kasi, parang medyo relevant sila sa isa't isa. So the question of how effective is PSI is parang can absorb the first question. So that is only a suggestion. So para
Yes,
lang
sir.
makafocus kayo doon sa isang action research question lang. Anyway, the discussion can include also the use of the PSI. It's because in determining the effectiveness of the PSI, you need also syempre to discuss what and how to use yung PSI. So maa-absorb niya na yun. So 'di ba? So parang you should have parang a single focus having only one research question. So okay naman kahit isa eh. Okay. And then I would like to parang point into the safety of the proctors. May I know who will be the proctors?
Sir, magse-select po kami ng proctors depende po sa availability. 'Pag na ano na po, na-identify na namin yung respondent, yung proctor na puwede po na malapit dun sa bahay kung wala kung hindi po capable yung parent, kung hindi capable yung kapatid or sinong puwede or guardian, at least yung malapit sa bahay nung respondent.
Okay. Sige po. My driving point here is that parang we should be doing the action research in the most safest manner. So I was thinking kung paano gagawin ni Proctor 'yun. Parang for the safety of the children and also parang safety din nung proctor or nung teacher. So anyway, kayo po ang makaka-determine yan. Next that I would like to point out is I have observed you have used as a quantitative method. Your instrument is parang paired t-test and then INOVA.
Yes.
Yes, parang this is an statistical tool in order for us parang to statistically validate if a certain thing is actually claiming a particular stand. Pero since this is an action research, um, ang tingin ko lang kung medyo mahihirapan kayo, pwede naman kasi yung result ng pre and post test can be used as ACE without getting into deeper statistical tools like t-test or INOVA. Yun lang kung mahihirapan kayo. Pero if you think that you need the statistics as an additional proof for your claim, then sige, you can use t-test and then INOVA. Pero in determining kasi yung pre-test and then post-test, that can subsist eh. Pwede na siyang magstay na pwede niya nang masabi na this PSI is effective or not.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Another point po is I have heard po kanina, Dr. Santi, na parang you're aiming that this research be BER-funded. So
Yes,
if this is the aim, if this is the aim, I think we have to change some of those details in the timeline. Kasi po parang we're requested to start it by June or July, and then we'll have to end, sabi nila is it's before November, I think, or before mag-December. So that's November. So i-change nyo na lang po yung timeline ninyo. Pero Ate She will have to tell you the limitations of the birth kasi parang ngayong taon parang ubos na siya. Okay? But in general, your research is very timely And we would like to thank you for braving the odds of the COVID. Despite all these things that are happening, research should continue and you have started it. So maraming salamat po. And thank you also Masbate Province for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir.
Ayun, thank you so much po, Sir Mike. Ayun. So may tatlong presenters pa po. Congratulations again. Pangatlong congratulations na po ito, Ma'am Queenie Jean and Ma'am Zenith. Sige po. So you have been given 95 points by Sir Mike. So how does it feel po, ma'am? Mga ma'am?
Okay lang, sir. Medyo grabing balas namon.
May halong ka ba?
Sige po, so bago po kita makadto or tumungo sa susunod na presenter, Ma'am Queenie Jean, can you and Ma'am Zenith of course, can you please share po with or can you share to the participants po naton na nagapamati kag kita how was the experience po?
Ang una, sir, pag-formulate, pag-structure san problem, san title, grabe talaga, masakit sa ulo. Kay sa kadamo-damo sinaiisip, dili ko po aram kung ano po talaga ang pinakamaayo. Tag napapanahon.
Ayun. So kag sigurado man po ma'am nakita nyo an mas maayo kag napapanahon kag talagan mas mapaayo pa man po inan iyo action research proposal. So regarding po sa fund sa birth kung hindi man po ma'am ma-accommodate this year, pwede man nyo po siguro ikanda kag another proposal po next year. Di ba ma'am? Sige
Opo,
po.
sir.
From ma'am Zenith po, any ano po ma'am? Can you share po anything to our participants?
Okay, para sa akon, dapat lakas ng loob at tiyaga ang kailangan para ma-achieve ang paghimo sa action research.
Ayun. So, damo-damo po ng salamat, Ma'am Zenith and Ma'am Queenie. Ayun. Talaga na number
Thank you
one
po,
po
sir.
na, opo, number one po na nakabulig sa inda, lakas ng loob. Imagine, pera po ang participants po during episode 1, pag-abot sa episode 3 and 4, requiring to submit po action research proposal, wala po ka 100 nag-respond. But then again po, kamo number one na nag-present and congratulations.
Thank
And
you,
also
thank
we are, opo. And we are also encouraging po our participants still siguro po open pa namon ang link, evaluation link. You can still submit your action research proposal or kung dili man personally po iduhol di sa division office kan Ma'am Cheryl Bermudo. So para sige po Ma'am Queenie and Ma'am Zenith, salamat po and congratulations once again. At ngayon po, ang susunod nating presenter ay nagtapos sa kursong Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Mathematics, isang scholar ng Department of Science and Technology. Nagturo ng 9 na taon sa Zamboanga del Sur, dinala ng kanyang mga paa dito sa Masbate, at kasalukuyang senior high school teacher 3 sa Tomas V. Rivera National High School sa loob ng 2 taon. Ladies and friends, Sir Novi J. Andales. Sir?
Hello.
Ayun, sir. Good morning po.
Sir, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Am I here, sir?
Yes po, clear.
Hi.
You are heard po. Sir, before you start your presentation, we are just curious po, how, paano ka po nakaabot dito sa Masbate? Bagan kahalayo man po sa imo paginhalian.
Yes po, sir. I was brought here by my wife. Actually, my wife is residing in Naro, Kawayan po. That's why I came to follow her.
Ayun. So talagang wara ka na sir, wara ka na nahimo. May kay wara ka man po gintutukan.
Surrendered.
Ayun, surrendered. Hasta sugad po siguro surrendered gyapon. Pero not under. Sige po, sir.
Amen.
Ayun. So, yun. Again, our second presenter, Sir Novi J. Andales of Tomas V. Rivera National High School. Sir.
Yes. Where am I? Exactly, ikinagagala ko po na makasama po kayong lahat sa umagang ito, mga makabagong bayani ng Masbate Province. So I'll be starting to share my Nakita na po ba yung ano ko, sir? Nakita na po ba? How could I? Hindi ko po alam kung paano ma-share
Ayun.
yung screen.
Okay,
Na-share na po ba yung screen ko, sir?
Hindi pa po, sir. Na-click po na po ba yung share screen button?
Oh, share screen. Okay.
Ayun.
Okay na pala. Yan po.
Ayun. Pakiclick
Hello,
po.
sir?
Okay na po, sir. Ayun,
Yes.
kita na po.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone, and good morning. I am live here in Kawayan, Masbate, representing Tomas V. Rivera National High School, and I am no less than your humble servant here, Novi J. Gulbi Andales, and I am to present to you an action research entitled Cebuan Contextualized Videos, or I call it C-COVID, its effectiveness as modular learning modality supplement in teaching business mathematics to grade 11 students. So, to the context and rationale, mathematics is one of the core subjects in our educational system where the foundation of science, engineering, and industrialization are laid down. Thus, students with exceptional knowledge in mathematics would be better equipped to face the rigors of higher discipline. However, so sad to note that Rappler reported in December 4, 2019, the Philippines ranks among lowest in reading, math, and science in a survey conducted by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, through the 2018 Program for International Student Assessment, or PISA. Now, this survey further conveys that the country's average in math was only 352 compared to the global average of 489. Now, in its recent major basic education reform, the Philippines proves to be ever wanting to quench its thirst for global competitiveness. One key change that this reform has brought is what we called DepEd K-12 curriculum. This curriculum, of course, aims to fully equip Filipino learners to face the more challenging world. So, however, the adaptation of this new curriculum poses what? Poses an immense challenge, not only to the teachers, but above all to the learners. As said here, this new curriculum doesn't only change the framework of the education system, but much the contents and competences of each discipline laid down for the learners, including mathematics. You know, much more, this immense challenge, much more on this time of the new normal brought to us by no less than the coronavirus or COVID-19. But this doesn't stop our education system. As said by our dear DepEd Secretary, no less than Dr. Leonor Magdoles Briones, education must continue. It has been reiterated in an online press briefing on May 28, 2020, and with its zeal of continuing its thrust on delivering basic education to all Filipinos, DepEd has immediately laid down its plot with its Learning Continuity Plan, or LCP. On the context of Tomas V. Rivera National High School of Madbad, Kawayan, on the school's basic education learning continuity plan, we could see here that there are 361 or 100% of incoming grade 11 students chose blended learning modality, which is a combination of face-to-face and modular learning. And since there is no vaccine yet against COVID-19, as reiterated with our dear President, students are left with a modular learning modality. Now, this is where the problem comes in. As being reported from the Office of the School's English Reading Coordinator in the school year 2019 and 2020, the Philippine Informal Reading Inventory or PhilIRI results of grade 10 students school year 2019-2020 indicates that more than a quarter of the grade 11 students, of the incoming grade 11 students, fall on the frustration level, which means 27% scored 58% and below in comprehension. Now, in a study conducted by Ramos et al. In 2015 in Santa Ana, Pampanga, Philippines, that seeks to identify existing problems behind the low math scores of students, it was found out, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a significant correlation to solve mathematical problems. Additionally, it was found out in a similar study administered to elementary pupils by Ayunola et al. In 2008. It says here that the performance on word problems in math was strongly related to performance in reading comprehension. That is, mean to say, fluent technical reading abilities increased the aforementioned mentioned skills. However, even after controlling for the level of technical reading involved, performance in math, word problems, was still related to reading comprehension, suggesting that both of these skills require overall reasoning abilities. Now, since learning modules of general mathematics are inevitably written in English language, there must be something to be done to supplement their learning. And ladies and gentlemen, that is through videos. Now, the role of video as a medium of learning raises the spirit of students in learning. Learners become excited and more focused on paying attention to the material given, stated by Lalian in 2018. But friends, these are not just videos. They will be Cebuan contextualized videos, or I call it C-COVID, Cebuan contextualized videos. You see, in the advancement of technology nowadays and with the vastness of the capability of the internet, readily available video resources for any mathematics topics are just a fingertip away, most of which are downloadable for free. However, I note, only few of these videos use Cebuan or Bisaya as a medium of instruction, noting that majority of our learners in our context here in Cagayan Masbate are Cebuan or Cebuano. And this has posed a notable dilemma among students. Noting in 2017, as being studied by Bilbasi and Fancy, that aim to describe the teaching and learning issues in mathematics in Nepal, in the country of Nepal. Now, they significantly pointed out that language is not merely a means of communication, but it is also a vehicle of understanding. You see, students make sense or create a meaning in their language. The most efficient way to make a meaning or creating a concept of mathematics is in one's mother language. Additionally, they concluded that there is a lack of ability and lack of understanding because students' languages are different in school and home context. Ladies and gentlemen, it is on this light that this study is to be conducted and dares to take a braver and bolder step in addressing the ubiquitous problem in the mathematics education of Tomas V. Rivera National High School in the part of the world or Philippines here in Cagayan, Masbate, especially in this time of new normal. This study generally aims to evaluate, again, this study generally aims to evaluate the efficacy of using C-COVID, Cebuan contextualized videos, C-COVID, as modular learning modality supplement in teaching business mathematics key concepts. Specifically, the study seeks to answer the following questions. I got 2 questions to be answered for this study. Number 1, what are the students' perceptions in using C-COVID? In answering this, there shall be more room for improvement in the conduct or in the usage of C-COVID. And lastly, is there a significant difference in students' performance when exposed to C-COVID? So these are the 2 questions that are expected to be addressed and answered as I go along with this study. Now, proposed innovation, intervention, and strategy. This C-COVID or C1 contextualized videos, ladies and gentlemen, will serve as a supplementary resource. Yes, you heard it right. This will just be serving a supplementary resource which will concretize students' learning on the key concepts of simple and compound interest towards mastering the specific competency set by the DepEd K-12 most essential learning competencies all melt. Now, why do you ask? Why did I consider, if you may ask, why did I consider the concept of simple and compound interest, specifically in the business mathematics for general mathematics? I considered that simply because for one of the 4 exits of the K-12 graduates or the grade 12 graduates is entrepreneurship. Okay, so that's the reason behind why I chose to have it focused, to have my focus on the key concepts of simple and compound interest. Now, additionally, this C-COVID will be created contextually, as the name itself suggests, as mandated by Section 5 of Republic Act 10533 or 10533, or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013. The K-12 curriculum shall be learner-centered, inclusive, and developmentally appropriate, relevant, responsive, research-based, culture-sensitive, contextualized, global, and flexible enough to allow schools to localize, indigenize, and enhance the same based on their respective educational and social context. Thus, ladies and gentlemen, as we make contextualized videos, learning becomes more engaging, more practical, and more significant for students. Moreover, this C-COVID or C1 contextualized videos will be produced by the teacher researcher himself. It will undergo content validation by a number of mathematics teachers, division personnel, and video editing experts. They will be distributed to the respondents through a mobile application called ShareIt, where everyone is familiar with, which will allow fast phone-to-phone dispersal of videos even up to 100 feet. By this, we see to it that physical distancing of at least 6 feet is ensured during the actual implementation of the research. So that's basically how it will go. So now, let's talk about the action research methods. So what is the method that I will be employing for this specific research? Now, the design, ladies and gentlemen, will be a true experimental design, since I will be choosing the 2 groups, control and experimental groups, randomly. So I will be making use of LESF, or the Learners Enrollment Survey Form, as other source of data. And talking about the participants, we will be having grade 11 students. And basically, since we are through experimental design, we'll be having 30 students who will be comprising for the control group and another 30 that will be comprising for the experimental group. And take note that these participants will be randomly selected. And only those who have smartphones will be among or will be included in the experimental group. So as you have noticed, this how it will go. This design is making use of true experimental design, and we'll be having control group and experimental group, each of which has the same number of students comprising of 30. So let's move on. How are we going to gather the data? So basically, as initial steps, you'll be seeking the permit to conduct the study and parental consents from the parents of the respondents. And on this study, we will be making use of two instruments. Basically, first is the pre-tests and post-test materials. And the second is the questionnaire checklist. Now, this pre-test and post-test materials will be made use to answer the second question of the research problem. And the questionnaire checklist will be utilized to answer the question for the first problem. Now, these pre-test and post-test materials will be made by the teacher researcher himself. This will just be a 20-item tests developed to assess students' conceptual understanding of the topic I chose. And these materials will be validated by a group of teacher experts. I mean, I'm talking about the pre-test and post-test materials. And this will be pilot tested to 20. Yes, you heard it right. 20 randomly selected students to ensure its validity. And of course, item analysis shall be conducted to know which of the items be retained or be rejected. On the other hand, the questionnaire checklist will be developed by the teacher researcher himself once more. And this will be a 10 items test or 10 item test. And of course, this will be validated by a group of teacher experts to ensure its validity. So there you go. You got pre-test and post-test materials, and you got questionnaire checklist. More. Now, pre-tests, these pre-test materials will be distributed during the distribution of the SLM. These SLM are what we call self-learning modules. So basically, the pre-test will be distributed along with the SLM. Since the intervention, the C-COVID, is a supplemental material that will be integrated into the general mathematics self-learning module, it will be distributed a day or two after the self-learning modules distribution. Now, remember, this distribution will be through ShareIt mobile application. Students under experimental group will be directed to strictly do not share C-COVID to any of their classmates through any social media platform or of whatever means. Why? This is to defunct the purpose of the study. So I will be making sure, or the researcher will be making sure, that this COVID or C-COVID will not be leaking to other students or classmates who do not belong to the experimental group. After which, a post-test shall be conducted and administered after the lesson. And to answer the first question, to know the perceptions of the students under the experimental group about the usage or integration of the C-COVID or the Cebuan contextualized videos, there shall be a questionnaire checklist that will be distributed through actual person, face-to-face, or through online, depending on the situation, whichever is possible for the respondents. So I started the pre-test, then the C-COVID integration, then the post-test shall be administered, and then the perception shall be taken up. Now, how am I going to analyze the data? Basically, this shall be a mixed method of analysis. For the quantitative data, which pertains to the difference of pre- and post-test scores, ANOVA, or analysis of variance, shall be utilized. Again, as to the quantitative data, basically the difference of pre- and post-test scores, ANOVA, or analysis of variance, will be utilized. On the other hand, for the qualitative data, that is the perceptions on the use of C-COVID, we will be making use the Likert scale to be able to analyze them. So the Likert scale will be utilized to be able to analyze the perceptions on the use of C-COVID of those who are falling under the experimental group. So the data analysis basically is again a mixed method. Let's move on to the work plan and timelines. As you see, to the implementation, there shall be a review of LESF of students being the baseline of data. That will be done in August, the whole month of August. And then I need to secure permit to conduct the study, secure parental consent. And then the production of C-COVID shall commence in September, and it will last hopefully for 1 month. And that C-COVID, as being stated a while ago, will be validated by the mathematics teachers identified, video experts, and some schools division office personnel. And then there shall be a revision and finalization of C-COVID, the crafting of pre-test and post-test materials, and these materials will be validated. They will be item analyzed, and the distribution of pre-test shall commence, distribution of C-COVID videos, the gathering of data, the conduct of post-test shall continue, and then I shall obtain the students' perceptions through the use of a questionnaire. And then, of course, after all of that, the analysis of data shall commence, and the actual writing of the action research manuscript will also start. Of course, I included here the proofreading of the final action research manuscripts, which will last for a couple of days, and it will be followed by the revision and finalization of the manuscript for printing, and then the production of the final action research will follow, and of course, the post-implementation phase, dissemination of results to concerned individuals, which is set on March 29 to April 2. Talking about the cost estimates. Now, mostly transportation allowance, noting the geographical location of the respondents. So in the C-COVID production, I intended to have 10,000. Much for that because that will entail a lot of money. And then validation of C-COVID, internet connection, bond paper, printer ink, and another transportation allowance to the implementation phase, communication allowance, internet connection, and meal allowance during the implementation phase. And the transportation allowance again, communication allowance again, internet connection again for the dissemination of results to concerned individuals. Down to the seventh part, plans for dissemination and utilization. The venues will be teacher school conference, which will include teachers and school head, barangay assembly, which will include parents and barangay officials, and of course the general mathematics class, which will include the students. Here are the references, and I think that ends my presentation. Thank you very much, Masbate Province.
Ayun, thank you so much and congratulations, Sir Novi J. Sir, I was able to get po the name kung sino po nag-kidnap sa imo. Hello daw po si Ma'am Hyacinth Corsiga Andales.
Yes, sir.
Sabi ni Ma'am Joanne Tumulak po, kaka-proud daw po, sir.
Thank you po.
Sige po, thank you so much and congratulations. Very timely po to the second power, nagbaragsa lang. Very timely po because of the situation and the name of the intervention itself, si COVID. Sige po,
Si-COVID.
talaga. Yun, very creative and that was coming from me. Pero pakinggan po natin, sir, kung ano po ang masasabi ng mga members ng panel of reactors. So atin
Yes, sir.
pong simulan. Mula kay si Sir Santi din po, yung mauuna naman. Sir?
Araw sa iyo at sa ating magiting at matapang na researcher. Congratulations. Kung si Sir Mike nagbigay ng 95, magbibigay ako sa iyo ng 100.
Oh no.
Okay, so itong study mo ay napapanahon. Curious lang ako bakit ang nagamit mo ang salita na Cebuan, contextualized video or C-COVID. Ito ba ay ang lugar niyo ba ay malapit sa Cebu?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. Definitely, sir, because Kawayan is really the closest to Cebu. And in fact, sir, if I could, because I already had a glance of the ESF, I found out there that most or majority of the incoming grade 11 students make use of Cebuan as their native language in the home. So that's my
Oho.
baseline, sir.
Maswerte ka dahil ang ating host ngayon, ang ating MC ay ang study niya about Minasbate.
Yeah.
Oo, Minasbate. Lahat ng mga dialekto ng Masbate province and nearby provinces ay na-cover niya. Ano, Sir Joben?
Yes po, Sir Santi, with Ma'am Cheryl, of course, and Ma'am Melody. At talaga naman po, sir, in their area, Cebuano speaking po sila doon. Of course, may mga parts po na influence ng Minasbate po, yung Cebuano.
So ito ay parang nagkakatugma itong study mo at itong study ng ating matapang na researcher na si Sir Novi. Okay, so ang tanong ko po ay simple lang naman at maganda yung presentation nyo at maganda yung concept ng study nyo. So paano nyo po paano po yung ginawa nyo sa pagpili ng ating mga respondents?
Actually, sir, the way I will be choosing the respondents is based to the sections given to me by the grade 12, our senior high school coordinator. We had already the distribution of classes. So last week pa po. So dun ko po binasihan because I was given 2 sections for general mathematics. So those 2 sections, dun ko po kukunin yung respondents for the control group and other section for the experimental group. Yun po
So
yun,
dalawang sections ang gagamitin mo na part of your study. So
Yes, sir.
pero sana mayroon tayong yung parang yung sa ethical standard natin kasi ang covered natin ay mga bata.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, sir.
May permit ba tayo sa parents na
Yes, sir.
sa kanila?
Yes, sir. As part of the initial steps, sir, in conducting the research, sir, I will see to it that there shall be a parental consent to be given to the parents of the concerned students.
Okay. So in this case kasi very timely at naiiba, unique itong study mo. Paano ba natin ma-determine yung effectiveness ng ating Cebuan or CCOVID as modular learning modality of your school?
Yes, thank you, sir. Actually, sir, praise the Lord for the statistics because basically, pre-tests and post-tests shall be conducted. So eventually, scores will be taken into considerations. They will be tabulated, and these scores, ang gagamitin po na tool, sir, to analyzing them is what we call analysis of variance or ANOVA. Since these 2 groups have equal number of respondents, analysis of variance po ang gagamitin, sir.
Okay. So nakita ko medyo complicated ang ANOVA as a tool. So
Yes,
baka
sir.
pwedeng mahanapan po natin ng medyo mas magandang, mas simple lang na mathematical tool dahil dapat tingnan din natin po yung magbabasa ng study mo. So yung madaling maintindihan yung formula na ginamit natin, at so, paano natin na compute at paano natin na-analyze ang data through this tool na ginamit natin. So ito ay gagamitin mo doon sa qualitative.
Data.
So
Quantitative.
quality is like Kurt. So okay. So
Yes, sir.
at ito bang tool na ginamit mo ay validated?
These will be validated, sir, because we need to see to it that these are really go or okay to go. So basically, sir, the plan stated that this will be validated by a group of identified mathematics teacher experts. And yun po, sir. Yun po yung paraan po ng pag-validate nito.
Ano yung
And-
criteria ng expertise nila?
Ano, sir, they should be teaching general mathematics already. They should be teaching general mathematics and malapit po or malayo, pwede po kasi meron naman po tayong internet, so I could contact them anytime
Okay.
at their convenient time.
So para makuha natin yung validity ng ating materials natin. So nagkaroon tayo ng dry run ng
Yes,
materials
sir.
natin.
Dry run po.
Saan mo po ginawa itong dry run natin?
This will be conducted, sir, to 20 randomly selected students.
Sa school nyo mismo?
Select lang. Yes, sir. School po mismo. I mean, to their houses, basically because, of course, of the pandemic. So I will just be giving them the materials and yeah, and to whatever means it will be. So someday po gagawin po yan. 20
But
only po. 20.
But these students subjected by your dry run are not part of your respondents.
Yes, sir. They should not be part.
Oo.
They should never be part as one
Okay,
of my respondents of the study.
Okay, so yan lang po at nakita ko maganda po ang study mo. Then nakita ko na mayroong mga involved at the last part of your study sa pag-gather mo ng data, may mga pag-distribute ng materials, may involved na mga tao. So sana we have to observe the highest standard of health protocol as stipulated under the memorandum of our health officials, IETF. So mabuhay ka at mabuhay po ang Masbate Division sa pangunguna ni Ma'am Nene at saka sa pangunguna ng ating mga magigiting na assistant schools division superintendent. Siyempre ang aming kasama, ang aming idol, ang aking idol dyan, si Sir Tongko. Maraming salamat. At kay Ma'am Che, maraming salamat Ma'am Che sa opportunity na naging bahagi ako ng pagtitipong ito at makapagbigay ng ilang advices sa ating mga researchers. Mabuhay ka, Sir Novi, and I hope sana marami pa ang tumulad sa iyo na sana lahat ng teachers niyo rin diyan sa school niyo at maging researchers, ano?
I pray.
Sana ikaw na ang mag-encourage sa kanila.
After this,
I-send
sir.
na, papirmay mo ng kontrata.
Oh no.
Maraming salamat po,
Binding.
Sir Jobin.
Mabuhay
Maraming
po kayo,
salamat.
Sir Santi. Maraming salamat.
Thank you.
Ayun, thank you so much po, Sir Santi. We are also honored that you are with us today po. And congratulations, Sir Novi J. Ayun, may challenge po si Sir Santi. So sana po ikaw yung manguna upang lahat ng teachers dyan sa Tomas Rivera ay maging researchers. So good luck po, sir. And congratulations. At dahil dyan, napa-English po si Ma'am Daisy. Daisy humawas abanda. Sabi niya, you are close to their hearts daw po. Ayun. Hello po, Ma'am Daisy.
Hello, Maring
Si-
Daisy.
Ayun,
My wife also. Hello.
magkumari po. Ayun. So shout out daw po kay Ma'am Hyacinth Corsiga Andales.
Yeah.
Mas matapang yun, sir. Sige po. This time, Ma'am May will be on the line. Give suggestions, comments, or recommendations to the proposal. Ma'am?
Okay, thank you, Sir Paul. Ang galing-galing mo na mag-moderate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ang galing-galing. And Sir Novi J, congratulations also. Napakaganda ng research mo. Very timely and napakaganda ng title. Talagang may COVID, naunahan ako ni Sir Santi kasi I was also thinking, bakit may Cebuano doon? Bakit may Cebuano doon? Masbate. Sinagot mo naman po na malapit pala kayo sa Masbate. So,
Closest.
yes, okay. Pag nag-evaluate ako ng research, dalawa lang talaga ang tinatanong ko, no? Yung tool at saka yung how, no? Na-process ko din naman sa research mo yung tool mo kung papaano mo makikita or masasagutan ang effectiveness of the C-COVID, which is the Likert scale, no, in quali, and yung quanti, yung result ng pre and post test mo. So nasagot mo naman. And you are using the mix in the data analysis, you will be using the mixed method, which is the quanti nga sa quali. And you will also be using the experimental method. Mas maganda yun kasi makikita natin yung control group at saka yung nasa experimental. Para sa susunod mong research, makikita mo na yung difference kung ano yung pagkakaiba ng dalawa na pwede mo pang i-improve, no? Ang ano lang natin diyan, ang suggestion ko lang diyan, kung halimbawa mag-aano tayo ng face to face, please observe yung ano yon, yung
Social
health protocols, okay? And yung you will be using the ANOVA. Pwede naman po yung ANOVA kasi you will be using two variants. May two variances ka diyan. Kaya pwede naman po yung ANOVA. So far wala naman akong ibang nakikita na sagot na yung query ko na sa Masbate, Cebuano ka pala. Malapit pala talaga yan sa Cebu. Kaya pala si Ma'am Che, parang ang Cebu, nag-aano lang siya ng jeep, parang ang lapit-lapit lang ng Masbate sa Cebu. Okay? So, sir, thank you very much and congratulations. Napakaganda ng research mo. And spread the sunshine to other researchers, future researchers, and sana po maging huwaran ka and motivate mo pa yung ibang co-teachers mo para mas lalong mapaigting pa natin ang culture of research dyan sa Masbate.
Amen.
Thank
Amen.
you po. Thank you.
Mabuhay po kayo, Mami. Thank you po.
Okay.
Thank you so much po, Ma'am May. Talaga naman po ngayon, the term spread the sunshine. That is another challenge po, Sir Novi J. Ayun,
Yes,
at dahil dyan sa action research proposal mo, na ipopromote din po natin yung iba't ibang languages na ginagamit natin dito sa Masbate. Ano po, sir, yung Cebuano. So, Ma'am May, meron pa po ditong mga area sa Masbate na Hiligaynon speaking at Bicolano speaking po. So, ganun po kayaman ang Masbate pagdating sa
diverse.
language. And yun, Sir Jay, talaga naman pong na-include mo siya sa action research proposal. So, good luck on that endeavor. So, pagyamanin pa natin ang ating sariling wika. But sir, we still have a third member of the panel of reactors, Sir Mike. Yon, si Ma'am May ay coming from Naga City. Kapareho po sila ni Ma'am Cheryl Bermudo, yung in charge po for planning and research. And Sir Mike from Sorsogon City. Ayon, sir.
Opo, hello. Good morning, Sir Joel.
Good morning po.
Opo, Sir Novi, congratulations for initiating this kind of research.
Thank you po.
And my score is 97.
Thank you very much, sir.
Opo, welcome. And then the title is indeed catchy. Kaya lang nakakatakot lang, pero very catchy. Kaya that will be sounding very attractive, lalo-lalo na sa mga learners. My only point is that if this is actually a true experimental design or we will be using experimental research, since you have used yung ANOVA, we'll have to be assured that this is a multivariable research. So, siguro suggestion ko lang, hindi ko kasi masyado narinig kanina, we'll have to get whatever is the statistical number doon sa ating control group versus our statistical result in the experimental group. 'Di ba, sir? And that's
Yes, sir.
the point wherein we will be applying ANOVA. In that way, that becomes experimental and at the same time it's multivariate.
Multivariate.
Okay? But the rest of the action research parts are all well done. That's why it's 97. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Sir Mike.
Yun, thank you so much po, Sir Mike. Nakaka-nosebleed naman po yung multivariate. Sige po. So, congratulations. And again, congratulations. And thank you, Sir Novi J. 100% from Sir Santi and 97% from Sir Mike. And for sure, Ma'am May, between 97 to 100% lang po yung score. So, yun. Approve na approve. Pasa na pasa. So, sir, bago po tayo tumungo sa susunod na presenter, any inspiring words para po sa ating mga teacher participants?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Sir Paul. All I can say to everyone out there, I am never good enough, so I seek help. In short, we could never be good enough by ourselves, so we should and must seek help. Mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Ayun. So, thank you so much po, sir. Talaga namang golden words coming from Sir Novi J. At talagang totoo yan. Talagang hindi natin makakaya kung tayo ay mag-isa. So, we have our friends, classmates, co-teachers, school heads, and others who could really help us. So, again, congratulations, Sir Novi J. And thank you so much for really giving your time and effort para magkaroon ng action research proposals. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir.
Yun. So, ngayon ay syempre tutungo po tayo sa pangatlong presenter. At siya po ay nagtapos sa kursong BS Ed Major in Biological Sciences. Currently taking up Masters of Art in Education, Major in Science Education. Nagtuturo sa Buena Suerte Integrated School sa PUB Corpus, Masbate for 2 years. So from 3rd Congressional District, so pangatlo halos galing po pala sa 3rd Congressional Districts ang ating first 3 presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, namin pong pinakikilala, Sir Junan Romero.
Yes, Sir Paul. Narinig niyo ba ako, Sir Paul?
Yes po, sir. Good morning
Ay, thank you,
po.
sir. Good morning po.
Ayun. So, from mathematics major to science,
Science.
meron pong Filipino kanina at English. Ayun. Talagang full package ang ating mga presenters sa ngayon. So, how are you feeling, sir?
Kinakabahan, sir. Sobrang,
Ayun.
I'm very nervous right now.
Yung
Pero
normal
kaya
lang
naman
po
po.
yan, sir. Opo.
Yes, sir.
Ayun. Sige po, sir. We are giving you the floor.
Thank you, sir. Let me share lang po my action research. First thing first po, I would like to extend my gratitude to the organizers of this action research webinar, spearheaded of course by our SDS, Ma'am Nene Armarioles, our assistant SDS, Sir Raimundo Cantonos and Sir Mel Tongco, to our Chief Education Supervisors, Ma'am Dorothy Daniel and Sir Mark Anthony Rupa, to our SEPS for Planning and Research, Ma'am Cheryl V. Bermudo. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to present an action research po. This is my first time, so disclaimer po sa mga teachers na who are watching right now po, na this is my first time to present an action research in this kind of format pa po, which is virtual. So I'm very nervous right now, but I am asking for your patience po, consideration whenever I stutter, mabulol, mautol po ako when along the process of our presentation po, or I'll be having mental block. And thank you po. That's all. I'm asking for your patience po. Now, let me introduce myself po. I am Junan N. Romero, Teacher 1 of Benasuerte Integrated School, headed by our principal, Ma'am Anfer Arreglo Naval, and our assistant principal, Ma'am Cheryl M. Malasido, under the supervision of our PSDS, Ma'am Rodelia Mativo. Benasuerte Integrated School is located at PUV Corpus, Masbate. So, let me proceed po to my action research. So, the title po is Integration of Filipino Language in Modular Teaching Approach, Aid in Improving Academic Performance of Grade 10 Learners in Science Subject. So, let me explain po konti lang yung title na the aim po or the premise of the title is just to integrate, to incorporate, isasama lang po yung Filipino language sa science modules alongside dun sa English na medium na po na ginagamit. It does not intend or aim to remove, eradicate, or to change the medium, which is English, but isasama lang po siya. For us to know po, or for me to know if the students are able to comprehend well the topic or the concepts presented among them kapag hinaluan na po ng Filipino language para they could resort to the Filipino language instruction whenever they find science concepts, certain science concept or topic or phrases, sentences that are vague to them, that are not clear to them po, hindi klaro. So at least pupunta po sila dun sa Filipino instruction. Hindi naman po ibig sabihin na we will translate word by word. Hindi naman po gano'n. Ililive po natin yung mga technical terms and scientific terms. So, as is lang po siya because it is important, of course, to know for the students these terms po. And bakit po hindi aalisin yung English? Because po, I believe that students should be familiarized po with English language at best to speak fluently using it because we want to be at par with our neighboring countries. Gusto po natin makasabay sa ating mga karating na bansa in terms of economy, in terms of education, and other aspects po. So how can we do that? First thing to do po is to know the universal language, which is English language po. Again, this is not to remove po the English language, sasamahan lang po siya ng Filipino language of instruction. Ganito po yung sample niya. Yan po. So this is an example of the modules na gagamitin this October. So this is just example. Of course, yung Filipino instruction po, version of instruction will undergo quality assurance under po ng mga or will be verified by our Filipino teachers po. Example po. The Earth's lithosphere consists of layers, the crust, and the upper mantle. The crust is made of a variety of solid rocks like sedimentary, metamorphic, and igneous. It is divided into continental crust and oceanic crust. So that is the English instruction o medium po. But we cannot ignore the fact po that there are students who could not really understand or comprehend concepts because it is in the English format. So kaya po tayo maglalagay or yung sinuggest ko po is intervention is maglagay po ng Filipino version of instruction because we want to break the stigma po na intelligence is the standard of or English is the standard of intelligence. Not all students who could speak fluently with English are able to explain well talaga the concepts. Meanwhile, there are students who could not really speak in English po or using English pero Filipino ang gamit pero mas nai-explain nila ng maayos at na mas mainam po at nang mas maigi yung mga concepts at nasasagutan nila yung mga tanong na binabato po sa kanila. So yun po. So parang English pa rin po yung medium, may katabi lang po siyang Filipino language of instruction. So now, let's me proceed po to context and rationale. Context and rationale. So language is the method of human communication, either in spoken or written, consisting of the use of words in a structured and conventional way. It is an integral feature of educational practice in classroom. That is said, it is said by Walter 2014, the harmonious interaction between the teachers and the learners is based on the effective communication of ideas, beliefs, emotion, and thoughts. So how could the students and teachers have a healthy exchange of ideas and beliefs? That is through effective communication. They should have a common language po. Hindi po pwedeng English ng English sa teacher, tapos yung constant English sa teacher, yung learners hindi na po nagigets kasi hindi naman po siya comfortable, not confident, hindi po yan masyado ginagamit sa pang-araw-araw nila na pamumuhay. So, need po talaga yung effective communication by means of having a common language po. That is, yun na nga po sa proposal, integrating Filipino language sa science modules po ng grade 10 students. With the declaration of COVID-19 pandemic in all countries, government resorted to the utilization of distance learning such as online learning and modular approach. In the Philippines, the Department of Education prohibited or pinagbabawal na po yung face-to-face classroom setting to prevent virus transmission. Instead, the agency implemented distance learning. Distance learning po through radio, through television, internet, social media, and through modules po. Of course, this is very timely po sa lugar na sa POV Core po, sa school ko po, because not all students have gadgets. At kung may mga gadgets naman po, wala naman pong internet allowance. So, effective alternative po of instruction, of learning, is modules po talaga. Yan na po. As alternative means to reach learners in remote areas who do not have internet access. So what is modular approach? Modular approach refers to the application of modules, which are units of work in a course of instruction that are self-paced and self-contained method of learning in all subject areas. So para siyang booklet po, weekly ibibigay sa estudyante kung ano po yung format natin ngayon, ganun po, i-adapt ko po yung action research ko dun po. So weekly magbibigay ng action ng modules. Sa weekly na po yun, nandun yung mga everyday activities and tasks nila. Nakalagay na po yung pre-test and post-test. So yun po. In teaching science subject, learners develop science concepts based on their linguistic competence and experience. Aconia, 1994. It was also stipulated in the Section 4 of Article 14 of the 1987 Constitution that Filipino is the national language and government shall take steps to initiate and sustain the use of Filipino as a medium of official communication and as a language of instruction in the educational system. So, we can say po na rooted na talaga doon sa constitution natin and mandated na by our constitution to use Filipino as instruction sa educational system. Why po? Para po, first, to promote our national language. Second, to adopt doon sa competence ng estudyante po, sa grasp. Kasi po, yun na nga sasabi ko na hindi naman po lahat ng estudyante are able to speak fluently with English. That some students could explain well using Filipino language, could answer the questions well ng mas maigi po using Filipino language. Learners who were taught science lesson in Filipino were more at ease to participate in the recitation, and the students could easily understand what the teacher was explaining. Vela 2015. So yun na po na experience ko in my 2 years because I am just teacher 1 po. So na-experience ko po sa 2 years ko of teaching na there are just students na hindi nakakapagsalita masyado or hindi nakakapagsagot ng maayos using, if I require them to use English language, but they could explain well. Nakakasagot po sila ng maayos kapag Filipino po yung gamit nila. They are more confident to answer po. Proceed po, explaining science lessons. Science in Filipino will help improve classroom interaction and schools need not to attempt to translate scientific and technical terms. So ito yung po sinasabi, hindi naman po lahat words by word o word by word po i-translate sa Filipino language because it's important for the students to know po the scientific and technical terms, the science terms po. So, importante pa din po kasi we want to achieve yung learning competency pa din po. It was cited also in one of the studies published via the International Journal of Evaluation and Research in Education last 2015 that out of 45 Filipino grade 3 learners respondents, 66.7% of them preferred Filipino language in presenting and expressing their own ideas during instruction, while 62.2% chose Filipino for assessments and examinations. So dito na po ako nagbase na since new normal na po tayo and modular approach na po tayo, why not incorporate na po? Since sabi naman po sa mga studies na at least na yung mga Filipino students natin sa paggamit ng Filipino language as an instruction, then why not use it in the modular approach po? So now let's proceed to action research questions. So this study aims to know the effectivity of Filipino language integration in modular teaching approach in grade 10 science subject of Buena Suerte Integrated School, school year 2020-2021. Specifically, it will seek answers to the following questions. Question number 1. What is the level of acceptability of the grade 10 learners on the integration of Filipino language in science modules? How the integration of Filipino language in science modules improve the academic performance of grade 10 learners? So yan po. Number 1 po, more on perceptions or the perspective po of the students towards the integration of Filipino language in science modules. Sa number 2 naman po, is it effective po? Na-improve po ba yung academic performance nila? So, yun po yung question number 2. So, what are the proposed innovation, intervention, and strategy? As an intervention to the existing dilemma on science comprehension and other science skills of grade 10 learners of Buena Suerte Integrated School, this study will integrate Filipino language starting from the introduction. So, pinaka-start pa lang po, na-integrate na po or incorporated na ang Filipino language, magkatabi na yung English at the standard medium, may katabi po siyang Filipino version of instruction. up to the evaluation part of the science modules, alongside with English language as the standard medium used. The participants of the study are the incoming grade 10 students who will be randomly grouped into two. One group will be subjected to a weekly based session of using science modules in English-based approach. So isang grupo po, English-based lang po, puro English, wala pong integration of Filipino. Meanwhile, the other group will use combination of Filipino and English languages in order to determine the effect of utilizing the national language on learners' academic performance in science. So we'll be having a control group and experimental group to really check po the effectivity of the intervention. So action research methods. The 6 sections of incoming grade 10 students of Venezuela Integrated School will be the subjects and focus of this study. Their science comprehension is determined after checking their general average in science subject last school year po, that is on ng grade 9 po sila, finding out that 50% of the students were under 84 to 75 grade level. So 50% of the students are under that range po of grade. So we want to know if effective ba, aangat ba yung grade nila kapag nag-integrate tayo ng Filipino language sa science modules po. So, paano po? Since we have 6 po na sections, we will be randomly pick the section po kung sino yung sa control group at sino po yung sa experimental group. For example po, sa control group po muna. So, bubunot pa ako kunyari, that is, kunyari po, A, B, C, D, E, F, kasi 6 na sections po. So, kunyari, for example po, nabunot ko yung A, yung section A, yung section C, yung section E. So, that would be control group po. So, the rest po na hindi nabunot will fall under experimental group to prevent po bias. So, we will randomly pick the sections that will be under the control group and the experimental group. This study will utilize a combination of quantitative, that is true experimental, because we will be having 2 groups, separate groups, control groups, and experimental groups, and qualitative research methods, that is through survey questionnaire with the use of Likert scale to really analyze the gathered data po. So we will be using a structured interview through survey questionnaire with the use of Likert scale in order to get the effect of the intervention, which is the integration of Filipino language in science modules, the results of which will be recorded and graphed to further convey the effect. An interview will also be conducted. It will fall under po a qualitative method. Will be conducted once a week to be able to know the effect of the intervention in terms of learners' academic performance in science subject. Furthermore, a grading sheet that will include po the pre-test, mga activities po na nasa modules, and post-test will be utilized to objectively capture the improvement on the science comprehension of the identified participants. B. Data gathering methods. The researcher will also conduct an interview from randomly selected participants of the study. 3 participants every week shall be interviewed. This will be done in order to elicit opinions, feelings, experiences from them to know po their general perspective on the integration or their level of acceptability on the integration of Filipino language in science modules of grade 10. The data gathered will be utilized by the researcher as a feedback mechanism that would help in the implementation of the study. The recorded activities, pre-test, post-test during the intervention will be recorded, graphed, and analyzed quantitatively by the researcher. The data will be statistically treated through t-test or independent t-test po because we will be having 2 separate groups. So, kapag napatunayan po, if sabi na po doon sa last webinar, if the p-value is less than or equal to the critical value, then we could say, we could reject the null hypothesis and we could accept the alternative hypothesis po. Meanwhile, if the p-value is greater than the critical value, then we could not reject the null hypothesis. So through t-test po, we would know if there's a significant difference between the 2 groups. This will serve as the main measure of the effectiveness of the integration of the Filipino language in science modules to improve the comprehension of the participants. The weekly interview of the 3 randomly selected participants will be utilized in getting their general perspective regarding the intervention suggested. So for quantitative po, we have t-test to treat po the data. For qualitative po, we have structured interview po to through survey questionnaire and Likert scale po, with the use of Likert scale. The responses will be further used in discussion of the final analysis of the study. Action, research, plans, and timelines. So these are the activities po. And this is based on the submitted po na action proposal na sinubmit ko last action research webinar. So pre-research activities, we have making of proposal, approval of proposal, target date that is on August 2020, persons involved, researcher, school head, school division research committee or SDRC. Research activities that include po implementation of the study, recording analysis of the study, of the data, interpretation of the gathered data, preparation of the research paper that is on September to November 2020. But it could be flexible pa po yung timelines because siyempre madami po tayong i-consider. Persons involved, researcher and respondent. Post-research activities, printing of the research paper, submission of the research report to the Division Research Committee for review, submission of the final copy, that is on December 2020, tentative po. Persons involved, researcher, school division research committee, the researcher, and the SDRC, and the birth committee. So this is the Gantt chart po of the action research. So pre-research activities, first month, research activities, second, third to fourth month, recording and analysis of data, interpretation of the gathered data, preparation of the research paper that on the fifth month, and on the sixth month, the post-research activities, including na po yung submission of the final copy. So this is po the Gantt chart of the action research activities. So what is the cost estimates po? Activities, preparation and printing of research proposal include bond paper, internet connection, that is 1,000 to 15 or 1,500 respectively. Printing of the modules and other related documents, that is resource needed, reproduction fee, 20,000. Snacks, meals during interview, that is for food, 2,500. Printing and binding of completion results, printing and binding fee, 2,000. Travel expenses, 2,000. Publication of the research results, journal publication fee, that is 2,000 for a total of 30,000 pesos. So what are the plans for dissemination and utilization? The results of the study will be shared to fellow teachers during the school learning action cell sessions or LAC sessions for the possible adoption of the strategy presented. To further disseminate the result of the study, the researcher will present the study and research in a research conference given a chance po and publish it through reliable research journal. So these are po the references. So following po the APA format. And that's all po. Thank you. Again, I am Junan and Romero po, a teacher 1 of Benasuerte Integrated School. And my action research title or action research in general is titled Integration of Filipino Language in Modular Teaching Approach, Aid in Improving Academic Performance of Grade 10 Learners in Science Subject. Thank you po. Back to you, Sir Paul. Sir Paul?
Ayun. Congratulations po, sir. Andito po for
Thank you,
that
sir.
action proposal that has to do with the Filipino language along science. So, maganda din po ang inyong naisip na action research proposal. Kung
Thank you, sir.
makaistorya, bagaman lang members ng panel of reactors. Anyway, ayun. So dahil malapit na pong mag 12 noon, sir, binibigay po namin sa inyo ang members ng panel of reactors, Sir Santi.
Thank you, sir.
Ayun, si Sir Mike po muna, sir.
Hi, sir.
O sige, ako ba muna? Hello, good morning, Sir Jonan.
Good morning po, sir.
Opo. So first, I personally would like to congratulate you for
Thank you, sir.
initiating this kind of action research. In fact, I was amazed.
Thank you, sir.
Ngayon ko lang din siya naisip na, 'di ba? For the many years that I have been a researcher, hindi nasagi sa isip ko na this could be a very good action research. It's because
Thank you.
my basis is if you're going to look into booklets of children, having this kind of English text and below are Filipino texts, di ba? And
Yes,
they
sir.
seem to be very effective talaga. So I like the idea since if this will be used in teaching other subjects, parang magkakaroon tayo ng another way wherein learners can understand better the concepts, 'di ba? Lalong-lalo na
Yes,
that's modular.
Yes,
So
sir.
the key of communicating to children is very important. So again, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I had some internet issues here a while ago. Can I just look into can you please share again your action research questions? Doon na lang po ako.
Sige po, sir. Action
Opo.
research question. Ito, sir.
Okay. Level of acceptability of the grade 10 learners on the integration of Filipino language in science modules, and then how the integration of Filipino language in science modules improve the academic performance of grade 10. Okay. Question na lang. Why did you think of the level of acceptability?
Because po, we want to know po, I want to know kung ano yung perspective po, what is the opinion of the learners po, kung i-integrate po, pabor po ba sila, effective po ba in their own, sa end po nila, yung integration. Baka kasi hindi naman po effective, so sayang naman po yung sa research. So, might as well po, tanungin na po directly dun sa mga participants kung effective
Okay.
po ba.
Okay. How are we going to measure the level of acceptability? Did we follow a certain formula or a certain parameters?
We will use po we will be having a structured interview. We'll be using survey questionnaire with the use of Likert scale. At that point po,
Okay.
pwede po natin siya interpret yung data po na makukuha po sa bata.
Okay. So parang may level of acceptability na lang, depending upon
Yes po.
their acceptance, kung okay
Yes,
sa
sir.
kanila o hindi. Okay,
Opo,
so
sir.
in general, Sir Jonan, I would like to thank you for giving me such kind of idea.
Thank you,
Ang
sir.
dami-dami kong gustong i-research pero this is one of a kind, no? Ginagawa sa elementary pero hindi natin ginagawa into
Yes.
secondary. This is a good chance, lalong-lalo na for our learners who
Thank
may
you,
have
sir.
this difficulty in understanding
Oh,
English.
Yes.
So, so my rating is 97 and thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you po.
Thank you so much po, Sir Mike. Talaga naman po yung topic na ito ay pwede talagang maaari din palang gawin. Ano po, sa science lalong-lalo na ngayon sa na modular na po yung ating learning modality. So malaking bagay din po ito, sir. So sana po, good luck po for this endeavor. And thank you po, Sir Mike. Next on the line is Sir Santi.
Yes, sir. Magandang umaga po ulit sa iyo at magandang umaga sa ating magiting na researcher, si Sir Junan Nipa Romero. Tama ba, Sir Nipa?
Yes,
Tama ba ang pronunciation ko? Junan?
Opo, sir. Opo, sir.
Okay. So, maganda po ang study niyo. Congratulations dahil
Thank you, sir.
kayo po ay nagkaroon ng tapang upang tumulong sa ating kagawaran na maresolba ang mga bagay-bagay na dapat nating resolbahin. So, unang-una sa lahat, ang tanong ko po ay, because ang study mo is integration of Filipino in teaching science. Sa ngayon po, ano ba ang status ng academic performance ng ating mga learners diyan sa school nyo without the integration?
Based po dun sa record po na request ko dun last school year po, 50% of them fall under the average grade level po of 79 to 84. So we want to know po kung if with the integration po, kung tataas po ba yung academic performance nila. Because based na po sa
Okay.
experience ko on my 2 years po, na there are students po talaga na magaling po, it's just that hindi sila nakakagamit ng English, pero magaling mag-explain kapag Filipino po yung gamit nila.
Tamang-tama po ito kasi even in college,
Opo, yes.
ako nagtuturo sa college, gumagamit pa rin ako ng i-integrate ko pala yung Filipino because tama yung sinabi mo na hindi lahat nakaka-express ng ideas using the English language as a universal language na ginagamit natin. Ngayon, paano po ba natin mami-measure yung effectiveness ng ating materials, ang ating tool in integrating Filipino language in teaching science?
Opo. We will be using we will analyze po yung post-test, yung pre-test, and we will statistically treated those data po through independent t-test po because we'll be having a control group and experimental group po. And may
So
interview din po.
okay. So ang methods na gagamitin mo ay combination or mixed method. Okay. Nakita ko doon kasi sa first statement of research question mo, action research question, yung acceptability.
Yes,
So, at nakita ko sa title mo, parang hindi siya nagja-jibe. Kung
opo.
gagamitin po natin yung acceptability, why not to
Yes.
use acceptability also in the title?
Noted.
Parang acceptability of integration of Filipino in modular, Kasi
Yes, sir.
dapat magja-jibe yung research question natin at saka yung title natin, including our materials or tool na gagamitin or question kung mayroon man.
Opo. Noted,
Okay.
sir.
Maraming salamat, Sir Junan, and
Sir.
congratulations.
Thank you,
Si Sir Mike nagbigay ng 97. I will give you also 97.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, mabuhay ka at mabuhay sa school head mo dahil magaling siyang mag-encourage. Marami pang may encourage siya sa school nyo na maging katulad mo, na maging isang dalubhasang researcher upang tugunan ang mga problema natin sa kagawaran. Maraming salamat and congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Hi, ma'am. Good morning po.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Okay
morning
na ako
po.
na ba? Okay, sige. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ninenervyos ka pa ba?
Po, ma'am.
Ninenervyos ka pa ba?
Konti po kasi nakahilira po. Ako lang po yung teacher 1 eh.
Nandito na si Sir
That's
Paul.
what
Sir Paul. Nag-uusap
Medyo
na kami, Sir Paul.
O nga po, ma'am, medyo nawala po. Sige
Nakalma
po.
ko lang.
So, opo. Maraming salamat po kay
Sige
Sir
po.
Santi. At ngayon naman po ay nandito si Ma'am May. So medyo kalma na po, Sir, Ma'am, si Sir Junan.
Okay, sige. Kalmado na si Sir. Sir, congratulations.
Thank you,
Ang
ma'am.
galing ng research mo. Sabi ko,
Thank you po.
if it is it can be acceptable in science, then why not in math, di ba?
Yes,
Why
yes,
not
ma'am.
in math? Why not integrate Filipino language in teaching mathematics?
Yes,
Kasi
ma'am.
nga, kung titingnan mo ang National Achievement Test, our result in the National Achievement Test, is below par, below par. Kung 75 yung standard rating, yung standard passing, our score is only 28, 45. Siguro sabi ko siguro hindi naiintindihan. So why not
Yes, ma'am.
integrate Filipino language in science and also in math, but not in English kasi nga
Yes,
English.
ma'am. Opo.
Okay. Okay, okay na ako sa ano nyo, sa title mo kasi doon sa statement of the problem mo, naswak mo naman yung question mo. Yung acceptability and your main purpose, which is to see how effective the integration of the Filipino language in the modular teaching. So, naswak mo naman yun. So, okay na ako doon
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
question. Ang suggestion ko lang po, doon sa limitation ng study mo, ilalagay mo doon kung saan mo gagamitin yung Filipino language, or is it in the main instruction, or hindi lang siya limitado pati doon sa mga, kasi yung terminologies ng science, hindi mo yun pwedeng
Opo, hindi po.
i-translate, di ba? So,
Yes,
sasabihin
ma'am.
na natin na talagang ang i-integrate lang natin sa main instruction of science teaching, no? And doon sa
Yes po.
tool, tatanungin ko naman, what will be your tool in finding out the effectiveness of the integration of Filipino language. Sabi mo kanina, narinig ko that you will be using a Likert scale. Kasi pag sinabi natin kasing
Yes, ma'am.
acceptability, no? Acceptability. Tinitingnan natin diyan kung is it highly acceptable by the students or not, no? So siguro yung Likert scale mo mag-range from highly acceptable
Yes.
and not acceptable, no? Tapos yung meron pa dyan sa gitna. Ma'am Che
Yes. Yes,
I
ma'am.
will coach you on that. And ano pa ba 'yon? Yung number one question mo, ano nga yung number one question mo?
What is the
Acceptability, and the number two, the effectiveness. Okay.
academic
Sabi mo,
performance po?
the effectiveness naman, how effective is the Filipino language in the modular teaching? You can make use of your tool in finding the difference between the pre-test and your post-test. And of course,
Opo.
yes. And of course, 'di ba, meron kang control group. Pwede mo naman siya,
Yes
pwede mo
po.
siya doon makita, no? So
Opo.
far wala naman kasi nobody will question you on using the Filipino language, because very good naman na nailagay mo doon sa rationale mo the legal basis, no? The legal basis in using Filipino language as medium of instruction. Kaya maganda po 'yon na nilagay mo doon sa rationale mo. Actually, in the rationale, talagang dapat ilagay mo diyan yung legal basis, bakit ka
Opo.
gumagawa ng research na 'yon. And wala naman magko-question kung English ba yun or Tagalog or in your dialect, kasi our main purpose in teaching is to impart knowledge to students, and of course, and
Yes.
to effectively convey our ideas to other people, especially our clients who are the
Yes,
the
ma'am.
students or the learners. So, okay lang po yun. Kaya very acceptable yung research mo and
Opo.
very good. So, kanina hindi ako
Thank you,
nag-score,
ma'am.
lahat naman line of 9. So, my score for you is 97. Thank you very much. And Teacher
Thank you.
1 ka,
Thank you, ma'am.
mapapabilis ang pagiging master teacher mo. Congratulations, sir!
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you.
you, Mas Bate!
Yun, thank you so much po, Ma'am May. Ayun. So, Sir Junan, talagang mas na-inspire at na-motivate ka. So, I have also heard po yung sabi mong kinakabahan ka dahil teacher 1 ka. So, please take note that in conducting action
Yes,
research
sir.
po, it is not about the position po. So in 2015, when I was
Yes.
also chosen po to submit an action research basic research proposal sa birth, I was a teacher 1 then. So kaya po, sige lang, padayon lang kay dili man po na sa position. So sir, any inspiring words sa aton
Yes.
mga participants? May nag-mention dito sa imo sir, an imo co-teacher si Ma'am Sally May Pasites. So
Co-teacher.
nakaka-proud daw po as your former
Opo.
co-teacher.
Thank you, ma'am. Siguro yung takeaway ko na lang po sa mga teacher is we should adapt po sa kung ano yung competence ng estudyante, kung ano talaga yung needs. Kasi po, yun na nga po sinasabi ko na they're just students po who could not speak fluently in English but very good po sa klase mismo. Kaso lang, gumagamit lang ng Filipino language because they're comfortable with it po. Parang may confidence po silang gamitin ito eh. So as teachers po, we should take a look kung ano po talaga yung pangangailangan ng estudyante for us to convey the essential knowledge and skills among them po. Lalo na ngayon na pandemic. Yan po.
Ayun. So that was straight from our teacher presenter. Talagang totoo yan, tayong mga teacher sa loob ng classroom ang makakapag-identify kung ano ang tunay na problema. So at yun ay hahanapan ng intervention strategy para mas ma-improve ang performance ng mga learners. So thank you so much, Sir Junan. God bless po. Please please inspire and motivate also your co-teachers to engage in this
Yes, sir.
endeavor. Yan, congratulations po.
Thank
So
you, sir.
ngayon
Thank
po,
you, Sir Paul.
God
Thank you
bless po. Okay, so it's already 12:11 p.m. So sana po you have already taken your lunch to our teacher participants. Kumusta po kayo dyan? At ganoon din po sa ating panel of reactors. So sana po ay nakapag-lunch na po kayo. Maraming salamat po for really giving your time para po sa SDO Masbate Province. Talagang malakas po si Ma'am Che sa inyo. Ayun, so marami pa din po ang sumusubaybay at nakaantabay. So kahit 12 p.m. na, Miss MJ, please add po on the stream ang ating pangatlong presenter. So siya po ay 8 taon na sa serbisyo bilang guro. Nagtapos sa kursong Bachelor in Elementary Education, major in preschool education, at natapos ang academic requirements para sa Master of Arts in Education, major in Administration and Supervision. Mga kaibigan, isang guro po mula sa Bienvenido R. Bulalakaw Memorial Elementary School, Aroroy East District, Ma'am Gleze Barnes Regala. Ma'am, kumusta po?
Hello.
Ayun.
Okay lang po, sir.
Nagpanangalas 12 na po, Ma'am Gleze.
Wala pa, sir. Snacks pa lang.
Ay, wow. So ayun, so snacks pa lang pang mga alas 11 pero
sir.
kaya pa po. Kaya po.
Opo, sir. Kaya ho na lang.
Ayun, siguro po. Siguro po, Ma'am Gleze, i-add naton ang 97 plus ang tulo, amin ang imo
Ay,
rating.
sige.
So, ready ka na po?
Sige po, sir.
Ayun. So, ladies and friends, Ma'am Gleze Regala.
Nandito ako din. Nakikita na, sir, and ano? Wala nito.
Yes, opo, please click the slideshow. Ano yun?
Slideshow na po, sir.
Opo, okay na po.
Wala nag-effect.
Ayun, ladies and friends, once again, Ma'am Gleze Regala.
Good noon po, everyone. I am Gleze B. Regala of Bienvenido R. Bulalakaw Memorial Elementary School, Aroroy East District. And this is my action research proposal. The title of this proposal is Increasing the Number of Grade 1 e-Readers in Filipino through Rainbow Dot Board Game. For the context and rationale, as for many children, learning to read is neither natural nor easy. For those students who fall behind in reading, opportunities to advance or catch up diminish over time. Therefore, the teaching of beginning reading is of supreme importance and must be purposeful, strategic, and grounded in methods proven effective by research. That's from Fitzsimmons 2007. For UNICEF 2018, play is essential to the development of children's cognitive, physical, social, and emotional well-being. The Association for Childhood Education International, or the ACEI, recognizes play as necessary for all children and critical to children's optimal growth, learning, and development. Grade 1 pupils are at the age of 6 to 7 years old. At this age, their language development are as follows. They must be able to match all sounds with a written letter and name. They must identify words beginning with the same letter, blend separate sounds to form words, identify all sounds in short word, and match spoken words with print. That's from homespeech.com. Since Phil Erie is administered from grades 3 to 6 only under the K-12 curriculum, the reading ability or the reading level of grade 1 e-pupils of Bienvenido R. Bulalakaw Memorial Elementary School during the school year 2019 to 2020 were quarterly assessed individually and are categorized as the following. Sound reader for the phonemic awareness, letter reader for the letter knowledge, syllable or word reader for the decoding, phrase reader for fluency, sentence reader for reading comprehension. The first quarter result last school year 2019 to 2020 showed that only 20% of the pupils fell under the syllable or word reader, and the remaining 80% were either letter or sound reader of some letters only. But as each quarter progressed, the number of word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader also increased because of the teacher's everyday face-to-face reading interaction with the pupils, which will not be possible for this coming school year 2020 to 2021 because of the current pandemic. But learning to read should not stop. Playing while learning must be our pupils' and parents' partner at home amidst pandemic. Let us proceed to the part 2 or the action research questions. This study aims to increase the number of syllable or word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader for school year 2020 to 2021 of grade 1 E pupils of Bienvenido R. Bulalakaw Memorial Elementary School through the use of Rainbow Dot board game at home. It will seek answers to the following questions. First, how can the use of Rainbow Dot board game at home increase the number of syllable or word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader of grade 1E pupils? And second, how effective Rainbow Dot board game at home in increasing the number of syllable or word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader of grade 1E pupils. Let's come to the part 3 or the proposed innovation intervention and strategy. As an intervention, in order to increase the number of syllable or word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader, this study will employ the Rainbow Dot board game. The teacher researcher will interview first the previous teachers or the kinder teachers of grade 1E pupils as well as their parents to categorize them as sound reader, letter reader, syllable or word reader, phrase reader, or sentence reader. And pupils who will fall under sound reader, letter reader, and syllable or word reader will be using the Rainbow Dot board game at home. This board game will be designed by the teacher researcher in 3 levels. For level 1, the sound board game for sound readers. For level 2, letter board game for letter readers. And for level 3, syllable or word board game for syllable or word readers. Each board game will be played by the pupil respondents for 1 month, depending on the result of the weekly assessment. After a month, those pupil respondents who will show progress or mastery on the level of board game assigned to them will proceed to the next level. The teacher researcher will teach the parents or the guardians or the siblings of the pupil respondents on how to play the board game, and they will be the one to assist or play with their children at home. There will be a weekly monitoring or visit at home to assess the progress of each pupil respondent. For the part 4 or the action research method, letter A, participants and other sources of data information. Participants of this study will be selected by the teacher researcher through an interview of their previous teachers as well as their parents to diagnose the reading ability of their previous pupils, since face-to-face interaction with the pupils is not possible under the new normal. Also, by looking at their previous records, like the class records, checklist, and report cards. And this will serve as the baseline or the pretest. And pupils who will fall under sound reader, letter reader, and syllable or word reader will be the respondents of this study. They will play the board game assigned to them with their parents or guardians or siblings at home. An orientation will be conducted by the teacher researcher to the parents or the guardians or the siblings of the participants to inform them and to teach them on how to play the board game. For letter B, the data gathering methods. This study will be conducted this school year under the new normal, wherein classroom settings with the pupils are not possible. The teacher researcher will employ the qualitative data collection method, wherein a weekly home visit will be conducted to the participants to gather and document data through video recordings, observation using the 2-column notes as the participant and the parent or the guardian or the sibling play the board game. Also, an interview, and the teacher researcher will play with the participant to establish rapport and to personally assess whether the intervention is becoming meaningful and successful or the other way around. This is also a pre-experimental action research wherein all the pupils who will fall under sound reader, letter reader, and syllable or word reader during the pre-test. So yung pre-test po is the interview with the previous teachers or the kinder teachers and the parents. And of course, by looking at the checklist and report cards, They will be the participants. For letter C, or the data analysis plan, as the teacher researcher continues to conduct the weekly home visit to the participants, the data gathered through video recordings, observation, interview, and personal interaction with the participants will be analyzed by comparing the results weekly to see if the participants are improving. And if the participants under the sound board game or level 1 will master all the alphabet sounds for 1 month, they will proceed to letter board game or level 2. And if not, then they will stay on the same board game. And participants under letter board game or level 2 will proceed to syllable board game or level 3 if they will master all the alphabet names and sounds. And if participants under syllable or word board game will master reading the syllables or words, they will be given printed reading materials. And if not, they will stay on the same board game until they master it. For the part 5, or the action research work plan and timelines, for the pre-implementation phase, the activities are the following. Conduct interview with the previous teachers or the kinder teachers of the incoming grade 1E pupils as well as their parents. The target date is October 5 to 16, 2020. Persons involved, kinder teachers, parents, and a teacher researcher. Number 2, categorize pupils as to sound reader, letter reader, syllable or word reader, phrase reader, and sentence reader using the data from interview, class records of kinder teachers, checklist, and report cards. Target date October 19 to 30, 2020. Persons involved are the kinder teachers and the teacher researcher. Number 3, design a board game. That's for November 2 to 13, 2020, or 2 weeks. The involved person is the teacher researcher. For number 4, conduct orientation with the parents or the guardians or the siblings. That's for November 16 to 20, 2020, or 1 week. Persons involved, parents or the guardians or the siblings, and of course the teacher researcher. For the implementation phase, number 1, distribute the board game to parents, guardians, or siblings. For November 23 to 27, 2020, or 1 week, persons involved, parents or guardians or siblings, the participants, and of course the teacher researcher. Number 2, conduct weekly home visit to participants for video recordings, observation, interview, and personal interaction or playing with the participants for December 2022, March 2021, or 3 months. Then the persons involved are the parents, guardians, siblings, and participants, and of course the teacher researcher. Number 3, compare, analyze the results of data gathered to know if the participants will proceed to the next board game level or not. If yes, introduce the next level board game for 3 months also. And the person involved is the teacher researcher. For the post-implementation phase, conduct post-reading assessment at home if face-to-face is not yet allowed. That's for April 2021. Then the persons involved are the participants and the teacher researcher. For part 6, or the cost estimates, for the pre-implementation phase, number 1, designing the board game. So needed resources are the illustration board worth 2,250 for 30 pieces illustration board. Then the printing, 600 pesos. Glue, 300 pesos. Plastic cover, 300 pesos. Then packing tape, 250 pesos with a total of 3,700 pesos. Number 2, purchasing of materials needed. So we need fare and for 560 pesos, meals and snacks for 500 pesos. Number 3, submission or checking of proposal to division office, fare 1,680 pesos, meals or snacks 1,500 pesos. For number 4, orientation to parents or the guardians or the siblings. So we need snacks worth 5,000 pesos. For the implementation phase, number 1, distribution of board games to parents. So kailangan ng snacks worth 1,500 pesos. Number 2, conducting weekly home visit for 3 months. Then fare and snacks worth 5,000 pesos and another 5,000 pesos. For the communication with parents, or we need communication allowance worth 560 pesos. For the post-implementation phase, conducting post-reading assessment at home. So we need fare worth 5,000 pesos for a total of 30,000 pesos. For part 7, or the plans for the dissemination and utilization, the results of this study or the success of the intervention conducted will be shared, especially to those teachers who needed most about the artistic way of teaching beginning reading. The teacher researcher will ask permission to the school head to give her the opportunity to share the intervention during Slack or if time permits during district LAC. Also, this intervention will be introduced to parents during the quarterly meeting to encourage them to utilize this intervention in giving follow-up to their children at home. And then these are the references. And that's the end. And I thank you. Sir PJ.
Yun. Ayun, thank you so much, Ma'am Glezi, and congratulations. That will be an artistic way of teaching beginning reading. So titingnan po natin. So by the way, proud schoolmate and batchmate here. Ako na lang masabi kay wala ka ba sa mga comments. So hindi na po natin patatagalin. It's already 12:30 and our panel of reactors are still here po. So talaga namang para sa bata at para sa bayan. So sisimulan po natin kay Sir Mike. Sir?
So, good noon, Sir Paul.
Sir.
Opo. Hello, thank you, ma'am. Opo. Sir Paul, good noon.
Ay, good noon po, sir. Please
Opo.
take your lunch na po.
Sige po. I'll go directly po, congratulations po, firstly to our researcher. Thank you for the initiative to do this action research. And then, I'll go directly, ma'am. Ang comment ko lang po doon siguro ko in my suggestion in your action research question, siguro for the improvement of your board game. It will be very good if another action research question can be added. Like for example, what suggestions can be given in order to improve the board game? Parang ganyan. For you to make some improvements of the existing board game na meron ka na. And then it will be very good po sana if in the output or in the hard copy, meron din po tayong sample ng board game. Para po, di ba, yung nagbabasa would have the chance to experience mismo how the board game works. And then lastly po, I'm just curious about how are we going to get and answer the action research questions using appropriate tools. Although may appropriate tools tayo that can answer that, but I think yun yung dapat mo din, ma'am, silipin in order for you to answer correctly yung mga action research questions mo. But in general, ma'am, your action research is well, and we recognize the fact that children should have another way of getting learning aside from the modules, di ba? And play, we recognize play and games as parang a way for them to learn another concepts in another facing. So congratulations po, and thank you for doing it.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
sir.
much. Thank you so much po, Sir Mike. Yun, Ma'am Glezi, suggestions for improvement. So, noted po yun, ano? So,
Opo.
sige po, tutungo po tayo sa second reactor. Sir Santi, sir.
Yes, Sir Paul, good morning. Good morning. Magandang hapon na sa inyo. At
Magandang
magandang hapon,
hapon
Ma'am
po.
Gracie. Ma'am
Opo.
Gracie,
Good
ano
afternoon,
mo si
sir.
Jan Regala?
Sino po, sir?
Si Jan Regala, kapatid
Ah,
ko.
hindi ko po alam, sir.
Ninong niya.
Pinapatawa lang kita.
Apelyido po, sir.
Pinapatawa lang kita dahil hapon na. Parang gutom na gutom ka na, ma'am. So, maganda po yung study mo at ito nakikita ko ang maraming mga bata ngayon ang may difficulties in reading at maraming mga bata ngayon ang wala nang ganang magbasa dahil lalo na sa pagkakanak ng research yung mga bata in just one click of the mouse makakakuha na sa copy paste na lang, hindi na binabasa kung ano ang kinaka-copy paste, pati pangalan ng kaklase nakakopya na. So, ito, maganda pong study nyo dahil at the same time, naglalaro siya at nagbabasa. So, sana tama yung si Sir Mike, sana may sample tayong game board or para makita natin. Ano bang itsura nito, ma'am? Can you visualize it for us para makita namin kung ano po ang sinasabi niyo po itong about your
Board
study?
game po, sir. Opo,
Yes po.
sir. Bali po, sir, sa board po, sir, tinawag ko po siyang rainbow kasi po, colorful po siya, sir. Tapos sa loob po ng board, meron pong mga dot-dot or mga bilog-bilog po, sir. Then inside po, sir, sa mga bilog-bilog, nandoon po yun, sir, mga letters po. So, yun po, kung nasa soundboard game po yung bata, magagamit po siya ng something na ito straw or dice on kung saan po doon nakalagay yung dice, kung anong letters po, yun po ang kanyang isa-sound, sir. Bali po sa isang board, nandoon po, sir, lahat ng letters po or alphabet po, sir. Yung
Oo.
pong isa-sound niya po, sir.
Okay. Parang maganda, interesting ito pong study niyo po. At kung ako ay maging bata, gusto kong mag-aral ulit nito. Magsasali ako diyan. So, ang nakita ko kanina sa method na gagamitin niyo para makuha ang responses ng ating mga respondents, ay magkakaroon kayo ng home visitation, am I right?
Opo, sir. Weekly home visit po, sir.
How many weeks?
Bali po, 3 months po siya, sir. So, 12 weeks? 12 ano?
12 weeks. So paano po natin makikita yung progress?
Yun po, sir. Halimbawa, sir, yung bata po na nasa level 1 sa soundboard game po, sir, kung kaya niya na po, sir, lumipat sa level 2 or kung na-master niya na po, sir, yung mga sounds po ng letters, so pwede na po siyang lumipat sa level 2. So pag-aaralan niya na, sir, yung letter names naman po. Kasi po, di ba, yung letter sounds muna yung ituturo, then kung okay na sa kanya, proceed na siya to level 2. Then kung okay na sa level 2, proceed po siya, sir, sa level 3.
Ito po yung
Kung okay na sa level 2.
Ito po yung mga kinder ba ang covered nito?
Grade 1 po, sir.
Grade
Bali
1.
last year kinder po sila, sir. Opo.
Okay, so grade 1 sila. So, sila ba ay equally na mabibisita per week sa bawat linggo? Lahat ba sila ay mabibisita at ilang oras ba mag-i-stay tayo doon?
Opo, sir. Bali, sir, sa one day po, mabibisit ko po, sir, 2 pupils po. Bali, isa sa morning, isa sa afternoon para po, sir, medyo marami yung time during pag-interview, and then I will also play with the participant po, sir. So one day po, 2 pupils.
How many respondents po?
Mga estimated po, sir, mga 20 po. Depende po, sir, sa result ng interview, sir, sa kanilang previous teachers. Kasi, sir, tatanungin ko yung previous teachers nila o yung kinder teachers kung ano yung status ng batang ito, kung ano lang yung alam niya, kung marunong na siya sa sound, or sa letter na ba siya, or nakaka-recognize na ba siya ng mga phrase.
Okay. Yun lang po ma'am. Congratulations po sa iyo at sana maging matagumpay po ito at ma-share natin sa iba pang mga kaguruan na nag-handle ng beginning reading classes dyan sa inyong division at sa ibang division pa sa buong Pilipinas. Sana ma-share po natin para ma-improve natin ang reading ability and comprehension ng ating mga kabataan. Maraming salamat and congratulations po. Mabuhay kayo dyan sa Masbate.
Yun, maraming salamat din po, Sir Santi. So talaga namang alam na alam ni Ma'am Glezi kung ano po yung gagawin niya. Pero there's more. Ladies and friends, we also have here Ma'am May to give her suggestions, comments. Ma'am?
Hello, Ma'am Blessy. Hello, Sir
Hello
Paul.
po.
Good noon. Good
Good
afternoon po.
noon.
Parang hindi pa kumakain si Ma'am Blessy. Ano? Pagkatapos nito,
Wala pa,
makakakain
ma'am.
ka na. Okay.
Opo.
Very impressive ang research mo kasi it will greatly help the non-readers, our non-readers in Filipino, specifically among grade 1 pupils, no? Clear ba ako sa iyo, ma'am?
Yes,
Okay ba
ma'am.
ang ano ko sa iyo? Okay, sige.
Opo.
Let's go to the action research questions. Ang suggestion ko lang po dito, yung number 1 and number 2, emerge mo na lang po yan. Kasi parang isa lang ang pinupunto mo dyan, no? Which is the effectiveness of the Rainbow Dot board game at home. Kasi di ba ang gusto mong ma-attain dito, ano ba, nag-increase ba yung number of words na nababasa ng mga estudyante?
Opo.
No?
Opo.
So, iisahin mo na lang po ito. And then number 2 question mo, yung suggestion naman ni Sir Mike, yung effective, what suggestions can be done in order to improve the that board game, no? Yan.
Opo.
Okay. Next, dito tayo sa number 3, proposed innovation. You know, the main purpose of the innovation, the strategy and intervention that we will be making in our research is to enhance the learning process, no? Kaya tayo gumagamit ng innovation para mapadali or to enhance, to facilitate the learning process. So, ang suggestion ko dito po sa innovation, to your innovation, please describe explicitly and explain how the Rainbow Dot board game is being done. Kasi kung halimbawa ako, I am the reader today, no? If I gonna read your research, i-imagineon ko paano ba ginagawa yung dot board game, di ba? I-imagineon ko pa yung paano ba yung ginagawa. So being the evaluator, kung nababasa ko diyan yung procedure ng Rainbow Dot game, at least I have a grasp on how are you going to make that innovation in your class, no? So, mas maganda po i-explain mo thoroughly paano ginagawa yung innovation na that board game para wala ng question, what is that board game? Okay?
Okay. Opo, ma'am.
Okay na po, ma'am. And then doon naman sa sa methodology, no, parang ang dami mong, 'di ba may visitation ka home visitation ka? Parang ang dami visitations, it will take you for how many weeks? 3 weeks, no? 3 weeks? 3 weeks or 6 weeks?
For 3 months po, ma'am. Tuloy-tuloy po siya.
3 months. May visitation ka doon sa
weekly.
sa pupils mo na under dito sa study mo. Okay, suggestion, again, please observe the health protocol, ma'am. No, health protocol, and then please secure permit from the parents na pupunta ka dun sa bahay nila. And ano pa? Yon, yung health protocol, ma'am, please observe Yun.
Opo.
Kasi while you are having your research, maganda yung intention mo, pero yung health mo naman, maaapektuhan, paano naman yun, di ba?
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, so far, yun lang po, ma'am. Yun lang. I hope you can make out of my suggestions.
Yes po,
And
ma'am.
ma'am, thank you very much and God bless. More
Thank
blessings
you.
to come. And again, Masbate Province, thank you very much, Ma'am Che, Sir Paul, to SDS and ASDS and the whole SDO Masbate family. Thank you very much for having me here. Thank you.
Thank you so much din po, ma'am. We are really honored to have you po in this webinar. So sa inyong tatlo po, Sir Mike, Sir Santi, Ma'am May, maraming salamat po. Damo-damo na salamat hali didi sa Masbate Province. Ayun po, again, Ma'am Glezi, congratulations po. And thank you so much for accepting the challenge. So before
Thank you,
you,
sir.
ano po, ma'am, before you go pati, before you go,
Before
can
you
you
eat,
po share with the teacher participants your experience regarding the crafting, the presentation of action research proposal.
sa crafting po, sir, medyo malisod kaya kailangan mong makaisip ng mga strategy po, sir. And then sa presentation po, sir, the hardest thing to do daw, sir, is to wait. Mahirap gali, sir, pag uli ka.
Ayun, di ba gintagag
Amo
ka
lang,
choice
sir.
ni Ma'am Fe? Pero naitawid din po.
Naitawid din po. Salamat
Ay,
po.
ayun, maraming salamat po, Ma'am Glezi, at sa lahat po ng ating magigiting na teacher presenter. So sa ngayon po ay magkakaroon tayo ng awarding of certificate of commendation to the presenter. Ma'am Che?
Yes, Sir PJ. Let's now have the presentation of Certificate of Commendation and Appreciation to our panel of reactors and to our brave research presenters. Okay? Let's start from our panel of reactors. Ayan. Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is presented to Monica P. Gavino for being one of the members of the panel of reactors during the Action Research Webinar Series 2020, Episode 5, Evaluating Action Research Proposal, via Facebook Live on August 25, 2020. Given this 25th day of August 2020 at SDO Masbate Province, signed Neni R. Merioles, CESO 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Thank you so much, Ma'am May. Another certificate of, ito na ngayon yung uso, virtual na yung pagbigay ng, pag-award ng certificate. Another certificate of appreciation, of course, is presented to Sir Michael M. Oy for being one of the members of the panel of reactors. And of course, another certificate of appreciation is presented to Sir Santos T. Aranya, again as member of the panel of reactors. And friends, let me give the certificate of commendation sa ating matatapang na mga researchers na tinanggap ang aking hamon na ipakita sa Masbateño teachers ang kanilang nagawang proposals at sana ito ay magbigay ng inspirasyon sa iba na gumawa din ng kanilang paraan para mapa-improve ang kanilang professional practice through action research. Okay? So, our division is hereby presenting the Certificate of Commendation to Glezi B. Regala for being an Action Research Proposal Presenter during the Action Research Webinar Series 2020, Episode 5, Evaluating Action Research Proposal via Facebook Live on August 25, 2020. Given this 25th day of August 2020 at SDO Masbate Province, signed Neni R. Merioles, CESO 5, Schools Division Superintendent. Another certificate of commendation is given to Junan N. Romero. Also, the same certificate of commendation is given to Novi J. G. Andales. And of course, Ma'am Zeneth R. Mondares will receive the same certificate of commendation. And of course, to Ma'am Queenie Jean C. Afable for being one of the action research presenters during this episode. So congratulations to all of you. Marami pang opportunities along research, and the fact that you have accepted the challenge to be part of this episode. Mahirap ito na episode kasi you have limited time to prepare, but then I am overjoyed with the presentation. Overwhelming ang naging comments and suggestions ng ating panelists, and you really made us, the SDO Masbate Province, very proud of your presentations, and hopefully, and I know that part of that accomplishment is our webinar series 2020. So yun yung mga indicators natin to say that we were able to really attain the objective of this webinar series. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, now, in behalf po of our Schools Division Superintendent, Ma'am Nene R. Merioles, and our Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Sir Nong and Sir Mel, maraming salamat po, and sa lahat ng sumuporta sa ating Action Research Webinar Series. Of course, hindi ko makakalimutan ang aking mga kasamahan, Sir Mike and Sir Santi and Ma'am May. Maraming salamat for accepting the request, for granting the request to be part of this webinar series. Alam kong hindi ganun kahirap o hindi ganun kadali ang maging panelist, most especially that we are doing this virtually, but then you never hesitated to accept or to grant my request within short notice. Salamat po talaga sa inyo, and part kayo ng success ng episode na to. Okay? So, instruction dun sa mga participants ng ating webinar series, you still have to accomplish the monitoring and evaluation form with this link for you to be able to receive, a certificate of completion for this webinar series. So the link is bit.ly/researchwebinareval5. Okay, so don't forget to accomplish the form, because that would be our basis in giving you virtually that the certificate will be sent to your email, because we'll be doing that again electronically. Okay, so friends, I think this concludes the Action Research Webinar Series 2020. And let me leave you with a saying from Albert Zent Georgi. Research is to see what everybody else has seen and to think what nobody else has thought. Thank you very much. PJ. Si PJ.
Yun, maraming salamat po, Ma'am Che. At talaga namang totoo, meron na pong success indicator. So, data-wise, talagang nagpapatunay po, Ma'am Che, na successful po ang Lights, Camera, Action Research Webinar Series of 2020. At ito po ay ang katapusan po ng episode 5, ganoon din po ng webinar series na ito. So saludo po kami sa lahat ng presenters, sa ating panel of reactors, mas lalong higit po sa mga teacher participants who are still out there po, sumusubaybay at patuloy na talaga namang gagawin po ang lahat para lang sa bata at para sa bayan. So sa lahat-lahat po sa inyo dyan, sa field, kung saan man po kayo ngayon, stay safe lang po palagi, at yun po, tandaan po natin na hindi nagtatapos ang lahat sa webinar na ito. Patuloy po tayong makibahagi sa pagpapatuloy ng edukasyon. Walang anumang sakuna pandemya at lindol ang wawasak sa ating mga pangarap para sa Masbatenyong mag-aaral. Dahil ang mga haligi ng SDO Masbate Province ay patuloy ding lumalaban. Mabuhay ang mga Masbatenyong guro. Padayon lang po kita. Stay safe and may God bless you more. Ako po si Paul Joan Blancaver, ang iyo moderator, signing off. Here in SDO Masbate Province, we shield today for a better school of tomorrow.